those two rascals. Here are the fellas. Here's the boys checking in. Checking in with these people.
Checking in 2 hours from now. Check it out.
Checking out. You we're both wearing similar colored t-shirts.
Who
today.
is? What?
Aren't we? Are they the same color?
No. Yours is purple. Mine's blue.
Well, that's what I mean. We're the same color inside. We're all the same color inside, Fred.
Your color blindedness is quite apparent through this.
Well, I'm just looking at the screen on the Twitch. It looks exactly the same to me.
Oh, does it? Mm-hmm. Okay, to you.
Maybe the stylish shirt?
No. The color of the shirts.
No, not even the style, because I have a V-neck and he has a round neck.
Right.
Oh, round neck. What you say now, round neck?
Shots, huh?
I rarely wear a V-neck.
It's revealing.
Oh, it is. It makes you... it shows off your chest.
My cleavage.
Shows off your manly chest. Welcome, everyone. Show time. Do you want to go address the issue?
Yes.
Downstairs, if you don't mind, because that's our number one priority. Let's get that coffee machine fixed.
Copy.
That's for sure. I need two, right? I need two. I've only had the one, but you need the two.
I do one decaf now,
Yeah.
and then a real coffee, and then I'll maybe wrap it up with a decaf toward the end of the show.
Oh.
Because now I'm taking care of my gut flora.
And then what happens?
Well, sometimes I'll put off my sit down till after the show. If you really must know.
Yeah.
Big show today. Retirement Sherpa's checking in from Florida, number one Gator fan on the show. And Chef Jordan Wagman returns to our program. We had him on a while ago. Now we're having him back. James Beard, nominated chef, cookbook author, sales leader, philanthropist, papa, and husband is what it says here in his bio.
Philanthropist. What does that mean exactly?
Philanthropy, Fred. You know it.
No, I know. You give.
You give.
It doesn't necessarily mean you're rich, though, does it?
No.
You can give of time?
You can be philanthropic with your service,
Yeah, okay.
if you like.
Well, maybe we should try that.
Oh, we are. we are. Look at the people we've...
If we can't give money, we should give our time.
we have. We've given our service to these young folks, the Sean Sargents of the world and the young Phils and all the other gentlemen and
That
ladies.
qualifies?
Yeah,
No, I'm good with that.
sure. Hope everyone's doing well on this Wednesday. What's going on? What happened? Are you okay? Hope everyone's doing well. 1-833-437-8465. We'll cover all the top stories of the day. Dan Duran with his weather at 7:15 at the quarter hour.
It's quite the news day. There's some big stories today. The impeachment inquiry's going to go ahead for the Orange Man. And Austin Matthews was caught with his pants down. And, two sort of, one's quirky and one's predictable, right?
Well, I wanted to. We'll talk about Austin Matthews later. I did put down. I wanted to talk about this impeachment because,
Yes.
first of all, when did that start? Because I thought we had put that.
Wow.
I thought the Democrats had decided not to go ahead with impeachment proceedings a long time ago. Then all of a sudden, yesterday, I'm listening to the Fox and the Hound.
Well, it's this latest issue where
The whistleblower. What?
Yeah, he
what
was
is
on
the story.
he was on the phone with the president of some country. Of what?
Ukraine, right? And
apparently asked the guy, "Hey, do you have information on Joe Biden and his son doing some deal over there?" And which isn't necessarily illegal, but there was some question that he offered some aid or something in return for that information. And
that's the $400 billion of aid that was withdrawn or then wasn't withdrawn.
So the thing is, you can't talk to a foreign power and ask and offer to give them something for information that could impact your country.
And
in
how
a
did
nutshell.
who found this out?
And it's a partisan whistleblower, so it's somebody within the Republican Party. And I keep hearing the name John Bolton, who was recently, the latest guy to get flushed by Trump. Anyway, there's some transcripts coming out today, and apparently, Republicans and Fox News are quite confident there's nothing in those transcripts that will, nail the president.
Although I was listening to a little bit more of Fox yesterday than CNN, and was quite surprised / encouraged by the discourse that I listened to, because it wasn't very partisan toward Trump. They were breaking down this discussion in a way that seemed that some of them might be losing some confidence, because it's undeniable.
Right, except prime time at 7 o'clock. It's a whole new ballgame.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
During the day...
No, they're not. Listen, Shepard Smith, if you said before, and that Brent Baer guy, and, they lean towards the president, but they'll call it as they see it.
Not Shep. Shep's not a big fan of the president.
No.
But during the day, Fox is a bit more mainstream. At nighttime, it's prime time, and it's like...
Showbiz.
I was going to say, you've said that. It's entertainment television. And it's there to entertain people. The trick is not to take it too seriously.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, that's the concern that I have with it. If I was an American, well, as a Canadian, because so much of what they do affects us. It's entertainment, but it's not good for the country. It's sort of damaging.
For sure. Mm-hmm. If we can just pause the whistleblowing Ukraine scandal, and as you say, it looks like the Democrats are going to go ahead with impeachment proceedings almost because they have to. I mean, it's not like... Because I don't think it's good for them in terms of an election strategy. I haven't really thought that through, though, to be honest with you.
No, you're going all in on this because, again, you're not going to get one person that already loves Trump to change their mind based on anything, because that's not their makeup. What you want to do, though, is hopefully expose him or have him actually impeached, which might, influence some of the people in the middle.
Fred, it's without precedent. I was reading this over the last few days. It's almost without precedent how many things he's done or not done as president that other presidents did as a matter of of protocol.
Right.
Parking all your businesses. You know how many deals apparently Ivanka Trump Ivanka Trump they're doing deals with China, with businesses in China, while he's imposing sanctions on the country. He hasn't parked his businesses. Like, how that doesn't influence even some of the Trump's super supporters, how they don't look at that and go, that's just not right for our president, any president, to do. He's not shown his taxes. He's not stopped running his business. He does deals at Mar-a-Lago or whatever that place is called, official state business there.
And the problem with that is, amongst Republicans, he's got, his approval rating is still through the roof. They don't care. And there's a lot of people on the other side that when it comes to that stuff, they're more concerned about the sexier stuff. That business stuff, they haven't even gotten to that yet.
Well, that's the thing.
That's why I don't think
do you not find that remarkable?
Oh, no, I do. But how he's continued to do business with his businesses when he's not supposed to, I don't think that's had a lot of impact on Joe Average Left guy.
Absolutely. It should have more impact, though, because it is without precedent. He's basically just sort of, he's thumbed his nose at all the norms and protocols of being president in every other manner, so why should that be a surprise? And why should anyone be surprised that he may or may not have made an offer to the leader of another country for a $400 billion aid package if he give up some information on Uncle Joe Biden, who I also don't think should be president either.
No, and the thing is, there's something there with Biden and his son, too. There's some hanky-panky going on there, but
what?
When isn't there?
What's going on with Biden and his son?
Well,
his son had some shady dealings over there, ended up a billionaire or something through a this and a that, and... But hey, that's not unprecedented. That goes for them all.
Yeah. But the current president and his dealings overseas with people and his dealings with people domestically, But that's not why Joe Biden shouldn't be president. He shouldn't be president. It's time to get people who are not near 80 to run things.
No, I agree. And look what's happening now. I mean, get your head around 4 more years of Trump, because Elizabeth Warren now she's regarded as the front runner.
Yeah.
And she's a great person, and she'd be a super president. But against Trump, like head to head, she's dead meat. Sorry.
I said that when you were.
Yeah.
Well, I've said that 1,000 times. I've said that, if you think he's going to be defeated by this current crop of Democrats, and I said Elizabeth Warren should be president. I mean, just going. I was telling this
She's
to.
old, too.
I know she's old, but you know what?
Very old.
She's not as old as Joe Biden.
No.
She's not as old as Trump, and whatever age she is, statistically, is kind of in the sweet spot in a way. She's in her 60s, maybe early. She's not 70.
She's 70.
So she's 70.
Is that her age?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
June 22nd, she was 70.
Honestly, I think she looks older than 70 personally, but
Well, I would just say that I told Rachel to go watch some of her stuff. When a real great introduction to Elizabeth Warren is to see how she acts in a Senate committee when it's a confirmation hearing. It may not be the sexiest stuff, but she's just really smart. She's smart, logical, capable, intelligent, and knows this job. She won't be president. It's too bad.
no, it is too bad. I think the world needs more women leader. We've said that many times over the years, especially in this case. I think the United States needs a woman at the helm to get wrestle things back under control.
And
But
also to maybe reconfigure the world view of the country, because it's not good. Hey there.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Oh, it's almost time for weather Well, I've got a new name for him today. Dan Duran's weather coming up in a couple minutes. Amanda Barker's here.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You look all gussied up today.
I did my makeup in the bathroom downstairs.
Oh, yeah?
Just for Twitch people.
She's looking good on Twitch. And
Did my makeup.
you got a very nice warm welcome from Smelly Farts 2003.
It's a great way to start the day.
That's right.
did you putting your makeup on in that bathroom? How did you feel? Are you creeped out by that bathroom at all?
Creeped out. No, why?
Yeah, you just think it's creepy or anything?
No.
Okay.
Now I do. Why?
No, I know, because bathrooms got to be kept clean, and sometimes I go in there and I think maybe this should be a little cleaner. But that's all.
I mean, both seats are up, but that's par for the course.
Mhm.
You got a house.
I went in there and
boys.
there was all sorts of spoons and knives and forks in the sink. I didn't think that was a good idea in a bathroom sink.
No, I
So
think
we
you guys
removed
keep it pretty clean. All things.
We do our best
considered.
because we're just a bunch of idiotic men. We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, you do.
We don't know
Yeah,
nothing.
you do.
We're just
Don't
simple.
play that dumb man card. Oh, I'm just a guy.
simple.
I don't know.
things about cleaning.
I don't know.
We have a brush in there. If I go in there and there's the skid, I get on it right away, because that's really sickening for guests.
Oh,
You
yes.
do keep it clean.
Of
and,
skids, yeah.
And yeah, you don't want any skid marks.
No skid row.
No, you don't want skid mark. Little
No.
smear. Smear.
Smelly Farts 2003 just checked in again. Thinks you look great.
Oh, really? Okay. I wasn't sure about the shirt, so thank you.
Thinks you look great. All right. Well, we got a lot of stuff to get through today. I'm glad you figured. So when are we going to find out about this Ukraine thing? Is that today?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is the report, the transcript being read today? No, Thursday, they said.
I'm assuming some kind of thing will be launched.
So that's a scandal. We've got
Another one.
A scandal surrounding the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's so Canadian, so
What?
hockey. That's coming up. Also, we're going to talk about this young girl who is giving the world a voice. Greta,
Oh, yeah.
baby Greta.
She's so mad. She's mad with those. She's so mad.
She's mad.
She's mad, Swedish girl.
Hey, doll.
So
Swedish?
we're going to talk about Greta. And our boy Sean got into a bit of a Facebook exchange with some mean right-wing boys.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Don't entice the bro flakes, man.
Oh man. Watch out.
They got a lot to cry about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got quite triggered by Sean showing support.
Oh, were they triggered?
They got a little bit upset. And everyone came down on Sean.
Oh, poor Sean.
No, Sean seems fine, though. Sweet Sean from Georgetown. All right, I guess what do we do here? We just give Dan Duran a call. Mm-hmm. Dan Duran a call.
The man,
Dan
Dan Duran.
Duran. Where's
Do you know
Dan
if he's
Duran?
there?
No, I didn't check.
Let's hope he's there.
Let's see how it goes.
Day three. Oh, there he is. Hold on.
Yeah.
Is that you, Dan Duran?
Yeah, it's me, Dan Duran, the weather analyst.
The weather analyst.
Hey.
Hey, Dan, I was going to throw this by you before we introduce you today. We talked about you being a weather specialist, but not an official meteorologist. What do you think about
Right.
weatherologist?
I like the weatherologist. Why not?
I'm
Because
just
I'm
throwing it
into
out
the
there.
ology.
Well, I don't know.
Is
What's this thing
is
about?
that an actual term?
No.
Oh,
No, I just
could be though, couldn't it?
Well, we could say it is. I don't believe it is, but if we say it is, then who's to know? Huh?
Does it work into my handy tune or whatever the fancy tune is?
Here comes your tune now, buddy. Have you listened back to your tune? Because you can't hear the music, can you?
No, I can't. No.
Dan Duran now. Dan Duran's here doing his thing.
Oh.
He's Dan Duran. You were not.
I don't know if there'd be any other like podcasts, which we provide every day, or independent radio show, which this is, that would have their own weatherman or their weatherologist. It's unprecedented.
Well, it is unprecedented, especially when you consider that this gentleman that we're about to actually introduce officially, if you go to his IMDb page, he's really one of the most famous people in show business.
It's true.
Considering the movies he's been in. Shall we name a few?
Name them.
Some big blockbuster ones.
Hey, no.
Godfather.
He was not.
What?
He did. There's a scene deleted, but there's a scene in The Godfather where just before Vito Corleone gets shot after getting the oranges and stuff, Dan just pops up and does a quick weather.
Well, did you see him swing his hammer?
On the television in the
Did
background.
you see him swing his hammer in Ben-Hur?
Oh my God!
Yeah. Wow. There we go again.
But you know, this is all you.
Me.
Easy now.
It's true,
Just
me.
relax. It was you. I was going to leave this alone. I was going to be
I
like
know.
completely.
Howard High Road, Fred Low Road.
Well, no, but in this case, is every day going to be Dan Duran's hammer?
I don't know. It depends what I think of. If something comes up, it depends.
Maybe tomorrow you could come up with something. Maybe the size of his head might be a fun thing for
my-
you.
I just thought Ben-Hur and hammer. That's
All right. Thor would be a good one too.
Thor. You have hammers?
Or Ghost Mom from 1993. He was
Really?
in that, yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at what's the biggest movie?
Wow.
What's the biggest grossing movie you've ever
Ooh.
been part of? Do you know?
No, because there's a lot I do and I just forget
Well,
about
you've done
it.
a lot of Marvel movies. You've done like the Avengers. You did Spider-Man. You've done.
True Confessions of a
X-Men.
Hollywood Starlet.
Yeah, he's done that.
Oh, here's one. Time Traveler's Wife, that's a big one.
Oh, yes.
No, but he's done blockbusters, man. He's
that
done,
was
like,
a blockbuster.
All right.
Yeah, that was a blockbuster. Oh, there's also the skier movie. What was that called?
The
Just
skier
came out a
movie.
couple years. I can't remember.
Crash
the name
and
of
Burn? No, that's a TV series.
And Dan, can you get a credit if you're just seen, or do you have to speak words to get a credit, like on that IMBDDO or whatever it is?
it. Oh no, well, if you're just seeing, that would be an extra.
Oh,
and I
okay.
don't do the
Internet
extra work.
Movie Database.
So yeah,
Is that what it is?
IMDb.
So
yeah,
So you have to have a spoken. You have to have a part with words, right? Okay.
yes.
Well, look at
So
that
Barker's
list.
saying no. Barker's saying
No. You can have a it depends, but
you get a credit if you're in it.
You can have a credit if you're if you don't have words, but it's credited like, oh, that was the teacher, or that was the man number 3. It's a fine line, but you can audition for a role that doesn't have any lines.
It's too bad.
Believe me,
It's
I've done it.
too
Well,
bad
that's true,
somebody
yeah.
didn't years ago. It's too bad that they didn't predict your rise to fame, so that it'd be kind of cool, like if every movie you were ever in, you had the same name. Yeah. it's always, and now if you knew, here's Dan Duran, and you're like, I'm Dan Duran, movie weathercaster.
Yeah. The only way I'll do the movie is if I can use my real name.
That's right. You're like, well, we're gonna hire you, Dan. Only one thing, I have to call myself Dan Duran. It's not part
Yeah,
of
I
the movie,
remember-
There was what was that? Will Ferrell, he was a newscaster. What was that movie? Anchorman. Just what if you found out that some Hollywood producer was producing a movie about a weatherman? Wouldn't Dan have the inside track on the lead? I mean, just based on all the weathermen and all the that you've done, or all the newsmen that you've played?
You'd think, but they would cast probably a big superstar.
You'd think.
Now, Jude Law does the weather.
No, this is funny.
Yeah, anyway.
When Fred was talking there, it just made me think of all the weathermen in all the world. You have to walk into my studio. I'm Dan Duran. You see? Hey, Dan Duran, it's Wednesday, September 25th, and now with his forecast, is it too early to start talking about the weekend? Oh, hang on,
Talk
Dan
about
Duran. I
the weekend,
apologize. There, now you're back. Is it too early?
Well, it's not too early to talk about the weekend, but it's not going to be the nicest of weekends.
What? What?
Well, today's going to be really nice. There's lots of humidity in the air. The humidic's going to land kind of in the golden horseshoe of about 30 degrees today.
Nice.
Up to 29, 30.
And very windy. It looks like it's going to be a gusty afternoon.
Yeah, and then the windy Wednesday.
Dan doesn't talk about wind. He had an incident years ago. He will not talk about wind.
It's going to be a windy Wednesday. You're right.
All right. So
Yeah,
that's
we're on-
Wednesday.
And it'll be gusting up to 60 kilometers an hour.
What?
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking of, Howard. I'm golfing this afternoon, and that wind can be a challenge.
It's always a challenge where I'm golfing.
Seeing how our worlds are different, I'm thinking the wind is going to blow leaves into my swimming pool. So I'm always taking leaves out of my swimming pool. I got to get you up there to help me cover it one day.
You know what? I would be honored.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd help
Okay.
you in a heartbeat.
I know you would.
I like that pool stuff.
Oh, constant skimmer full of leaves, Howard. It's horrible.
Oh my God.
You think you have problems?
Oh no, I don't. Not compared to you.
You got a lot of trees around you, Fred? falling into-
Enough, Dan, and vines. Yes.
So down today, windy and humid.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, as the weather changes, is it a low pressure system that's moving into the area, Dan?
Yes, cold front coming through, and then after that, it's going to get kind of weird on Tuesday, Wednesday after the weekend when it could get really, really. There actually Tuesday, Wednesday in that area there. It's possible that down in the Hamilton area could set a record
For what?
near 30 degrees.
Get out. It's going
Nice.
to get hot still.
Yeah.
So what about, and I guess if you're talking weekend, what about the Kawarthas, Dan, this weekend? So, well, we're sitting there drinking, killing a bottle of scotch, half an ounce at a time.
Is that what you do?
It does.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like you're drinking so much when you just sip away.
You back on the scotch, eh?
I drink scotch from time to time.
Like every weekend now,
No.
you just kill
No.
a bottle?
No.
Starting around
No.
noon?
Dan, we had scotch this past weekend, right? And that would be the first time in a long time.
A long time, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Usually
it's true.
Wine, red wine, something like that, right?
Really? You usually drink a little red wine, do you, Dan?
But anyway, you said the weekend's not going to be good. What about cottage country?
Cottage country going to be, same kind of thing, except a little bit. Here's the thing about the weekend. There's different forecasts that are saying a little bit different as far as the temperature goes, but like maybe a little bit warmer up in our cottagey country area, like 22 degrees instead of 17, kind of.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
good.
Risk
And,
of a
here in the
thunderstorm in
city,
that area there.
Yeah, it looks like there's a risk of thunderstorm here on Saturday. Sadly, Dan, we have to let you go. It's almost time for our first break. We thank you for your service and look forward to you weather specialing or weatherologying tomorrow.
Weatherology, yeah.
All right. Did you have anything to add? Maybe a final thought?
No.
Okay. I don't know what I was expecting, but
Well, I don't know.
it's fine. You don't have to have any final thoughts.
Some
Dan, you
final
should,
weather thought or something.
No, any thoughts?
as a wacky weatherman, you should always have a one-liner at hand, okay? You should.
All right,
I
well,
just
let's
love
get
the
to
fact
that.
that we've known
Or
each
a
other
pun or something.
since 1978, and literally, you have no final thoughts. That's
What? Very final, yeah.
No, you don't have to. Don't apologize.
Yeah.
Will you be here tomorrow night? Is that you making plans?
Making plans to, I've got plans on Friday, so I'll hang out with you on Thursday night. Sounds like a good idea to me.
Can't wait. Exciting news.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You get him and I
Yeah.
don't, so I'll be up north all alone. Great.
Thursday night. He'll be back there Friday.
No, well, he said he's got plans Friday here.
Oh, sorry.
That's what he just said.
Wow. All right, we're going to take a break while we figure out who gets custody of Dan this evening. It's Humble and Fred Radio on Funny 820 and at humbleandfredradio.com. Dan, hang on a second here. Hold on. Where's your... So Darudu, hold on, there we go. Q. Danny.
Yeah.
So what time do you want to get here? We'll have dinner someplace.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, because I'm taking Rudra, one of our clients. I'm taking him golfing tomorrow morning, but I'll be back in plenty of time. I'll be back by 4 o'clock at the very latest 4:30. Okay.
Okay.
So let me know when you're going to arrive, and we'll figure out something for dinner.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Great job, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take him to Palma's Kitchen.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Okay, see ya.
Bye bye.
My fridge got shut off. Something tripped. So I don't know how he found out. He noticed. Anyway, there was some food in my fridge that
Up north, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
it thawed, but it was still cool while I was away. So he's pretty much ate it all. Just with my endorsement. There was those nice steaks. He's got a bunch of those. And then there was Palma Pasta. I had like 3 of them in there.
Wow.
So he's been eating those.
Nice. If you seriously, I would love to help you if you needed something.
Oh, okay. I know.
Like,
it's not that big.
like we're playing. Yeah, I know, but if you needed some help, let me know.
Usually me and Dolph can do it. But I appreciate that, and I'll keep that in mind.
Hey.
Hey, how's
So
it
you have
going?
do you have 10 minutes when we're done?
Yeah.
It won't be a long meeting.
Oh, you're here all
We're either
morning?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We're either gonna do it or we're not, and we just have to
For me,
decide.
it's just a date.
I know, but then it's
Because
also
I started a couple messages and then I'm like, well, I don't really have a date.
yeah. Well, we'll call and maybe we'll make a call together and we'll see if we can't nail down a date. So we're all squared away with stream print for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Oh, you've got the sticker people coming tomorrow. Remember them?
Yeah. Did you hook those up or did
Corey, I think.
Corey did?
I think it was Corey, yeah.
Sticker people.
I think. Let me look.
No. You mean Quick Strip? No.
Hang on. Hang on.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Why does cyberspace think you're awesome? What did you say?
I put up a little GIF in the corner there when he was doing the weather.
Oh yeah, what did you put up?
It was like a guy talking about a cold front with like
That's
a dick on
awesome.
the screen.
Yeah, like fuck, seriously. Have a fucking.
It's great.
He's something
Can't even
else.
hear, but I
I've
know
known him
what's
for,
happening.
Honestly, 48 fucking years.
His IMDb is really funny. Like, I can't find them. Hang on. What's the name of them?
I do not know. All right. Fred, why don't you do Gig Sky when we come back, and Fuzzy, I'll do CDN Technologies, and maybe later you can do FYI again. Okay.
The FYI, okay.
Well, I got it here.
Oh, by the way, Howard, weatherologist is a really old word meaning meteorologist.
Is it really?
It's probably regulated in some way.
Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I
Let's call him a urologist.
I called him a rainmaker. A
Of
rain
course,
dancer. That could be another one.
That's appropriation. You can't do it.
All right.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing today.
You know, Sean,
Numbers.
a urologist is someone specializing on the Ural Mountains.
He's
in
a cock
Russia.
doc.
Yeah, he's our urologist. Yes.
Bringer of rain. How about that?
Rainmaker?
Rainmaker.
Oh my God.
That's a sports reference.
I guess what is it?
That's so funny. You said Rainmaker, and I was looking for this email,
Oh yeah.
and Rainmaker came up. Rainmaker
Oh,
Agency.
Our former sponsor.
What?
I didn't even
Think about that.
So weird.
You know, when Dan was talking about coming next week, I thought for sure. Did you not think he was going to say we're going to have like a whole wave of cold weather?
Yeah.
I thought that's where
Going the
I thought
other
that's
way.
where he was going. And it turns out, like, I looked at the forecast. Like, this weather we're having is going to continue. Like, humid. I love it. Like, late September.
I love it.
Because the leaves are changing. The wind is blowing them around, but you still get to walk around in shorts.
And leaves are, this is the fall people talk about when they say, I love fall.
exactly. Yeah, they're not talking about the fall where, you know, you might get a light dusting of snow and it's 3 degrees.
You don't know fall.
Those people are. That's right. What your fall is stupid. This is good fall.
I have a couple of patches at the back of my yard. I'm thinking, is it too late to plant grass seed? But maybe not with this weather.
Oh my goodness!
I'll have to
all
Google
the
that today and
Things
see.
you have to worry about in a day.
Well, just think what a bonus that would be. If the weather cooperated, I'd get a new crop of grass back there.
Yeah. Well,
Will you help me do that too?
Yeah, I would love to come
All right.
over. Listen,
We could put the cover on and then top dress and seed.
I love it.
All right.
Do it up. Yeah. Listen, I've owned a fertilizer spreader in my life. You know,
All men have one.
I had all those things. Had all those things. I did all that stuff. And I traded it in to be a groovy hepcat here in the big town. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
I had a fertilizer spreader till 1987. And then I was,
Little Miracle Grow.
No, then you had your vasectomy.
Yes.
All right.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
It's the Nasty Show with Freddie P.
Spreading their seed for
Let's,
30 years.
Yeah.
Dad dives faster.
Can we, what?
You know,
Can we just talk a little bit about our friends at the Chamber Plan? Because yesterday was a fascinating conversation. We talked to Brett. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. You're doing Gig
Doesn't
Sky
matter.
first. No, do Gig Sky.
Okay.
It's fine. We did have a fascinating conversation with Brett Tanner yesterday. Gig Sky, of course. Great news.
Hey, GigSky is supporting the brand new iPhone 11s with the eSIM services. Yes, they are. The same plans available on all the other latest iPhones are all available on the new 11, including the World Plan, regional plans, daily plans. They also have the World plans available on iPads and Windows-connected devices, the Surface Pro, the Acer Swift 7, and other eSIM-enabled Windows and devices. You know, it really is fantastic. And coming soon for the Google Pixel eSIM customers, we will have the GigSky app available. All right? So keep your eye open for that. They're just so innovative.
Oh, my goodness.
They're on top of it.
I'm going to hang with Rudra from Gig Sky tomorrow. Take him out golfing, find out what's happening with the company. So I know they're still, like we're so appreciative of their sponsorship of this show. And it's kind of cool because they also sponsor the San Jose Sharks.
It is
And
cool.
so we're like in that, we're in the same family. It's almost like we work for the Sharks. Anyway, I tell you what we do work for. Our good friends at CDN Technology, Services and Solutions. Are you searching for an IT? By the way, Barb's in New York
Yes.
right now. Barb Paluskowicz on stage with Martha Stewart at Carnegie Hall.
And that's a good thing.
That's an actual sentence
That's crazy.
full of information.
Wow.
She's going to be on stage talking about IT security at some symposium in New York this week. So here's the thing. You can, whether it's a network issue or security issue, whether it's IT service or IT support, we highly recommend our new client, CDN Technologies. Kind of an old client, too, because she's been producing her podcast in here
Very knowledgeable.
for at least a year.
Yeah, almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Whether you're worried about getting hacked or a data breach, check out cdntechnologies.com. A few minutes from now, we'll talk about money with our man, the retirement Sherpa. Let's leave Austin Matthews. We've already done impeachment. Later, I'll show you on Twitch in the 8 o'clock hour. You'll see I'm almost like one of those robots. I'm hooked up to a monitor that's checking out my heart. Can you see? Can you see?
Like you
see
can
this?
hear it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's my heart monitor.
That's crazy.
It's been on for 24 hours.
And
I don't know. I'm just going to drop it off after the show.
was it okay sleeping with it?
I don't know. I guess.
How come it's down there?
Well, I'll show you. It's hung around my neck. I've got like a necklace, and then
This
it's all
is real.
attached to my torso.
Oh my god.
It's like an iPod.
So in the 8 o'clock hour, I'll show you that. Also, Chef Jordan Wagman will be with us today. A couple quick stories, though. Kevin O'Leary's wife, while you were gone in the UK, did that accident happen before you leave?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it did. So just reset the story.
Well, up on Lake Joe, she was driving the boat. Kevin was on board, and they collided with another boat, and 2 people were killed in that boat. Apparently, that other boat where the 2 people died didn't have any running lights on it. It was a dark, moonless night. So that's the hook for the O'Learys to get out of this. They've hired, who's the Greenspan, the surviving
Richard.
Oh, Richard.
one of the Greenspans to defend them. Anyway, the charges, it's not a huge charge. It's careless operation of a water vessel. It could come with a couple of months in prison or something and a huge fine. But
But a person was
2 people.
2 people.
One
were
woman
killed?
from Scarborough and a man from Florida were on that boat and died.
So she ran into the boat.
Yes. Bang.
At full speed.
Broadside. Yep. And
T-boned the boat.
yep, she's been charged, and the person that was driving the other boat has been charged too with not having the proper lighting.
The
on
running
boat.
lights, yeah.
But anyway, this is one of, not to be a cynic, but this is one of those situations. You want to bet she gets off? A lot of money involved here.
But may I ask you this question?
Oh, well.
Again, I'm almost as cynical. But in this case, let's say she wasn't Kevin O'Leary's wife. Isn't it really just an accident? Especially if the other drivers. So you're right. Money will buy great defense,
Great results.
great results. But even if you didn't have all that money, with the other person being charged in the other boat, wouldn't you also look for not a? It's
Yeah, you
it's
would
not-
think. Yeah.
No, there was no intent. She wasn't drunk.
I don't know if that's going to come out later. But I think it's the end of October. She has to appear in court, and then I guess all the details will come out at that point. But scary times for them.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the deal in a situation like that. Forget about money, forget about charges. Whenever you're involved in the death of 2 people, even if it's not your fault,
It's got to be devastating.
your boat hits their boat, even if it's their fault, and 2 people die, you live with that. That's got to be horrible.
It is horrible. And even though, as you say, it's an accident. Maybe I said it was an accident.
No, you did. Yeah. Well, sure, it was an
It's still
accident.
horrible for her. Horrible for everyone involved. But the thing is that other boat driver being charged sort of exonerates her as well.
You would
or
think.
mitigates some of the blame.
You're right.
I bring it up for a couple reasons. I think I can't remember. It was about a month ago when you left. But Barker and I was it you and I talking about the fact that I was being sued for $500,000?
What?
No, you told me.
No, it was you guys.
You're being sued?
Yeah.
What?
What happened?
That car accident.
Oh, yes.
This is just it's the classic Canadian insurance, thing.
Which
where,
car accident?
So I had a car accident a couple of years ago in the Junction.
The one in the junction. You're
The
old enough to be my grandfather.
The girl who screams at me, gets out of the car after hitting me, hits me, gets out of her dad's car, very expensive car, starts yelling at me. I explained this the other day.
Yeah.
Anyway, about a year later, so it happened in April of 2017, and in the spring of 2018, I was contacted by my insurance company's lawyer saying, just so you know, this is probably going to be, you're probably going to get sued. This happens all the time. And she came here and she took sort of, not an official deposition, but, got my side of the story. Now, another thing to remember is I was literally found to not be at fault.
That's
The
right.
police did a report.
Yeah.
We all went to the police.
Yeah.
And they found me not to be at fault. But it doesn't matter because in the way it works in this country is you can just sue anybody you want, knowing their insurance company, in this case mine, will defend it. And they're asking for $500,000, but if they got $20,000, they'd be happy.
Okay, $500,000 based on what? Injury or mental or
Well,
what?
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Whiplash?
All of that. Like I've got in front of me the things they say, and this is just, I guess they just copy and paste it. They claim she's been injured and psychological.
Oh
and
my
yeah.
God. Oh my God.
But here's what they say I did. there's 20 of them. I've only picked out a couple. They're saying in this lawsuit he permitted himself to arrive at such a condition from drinking alcoholic beverages or absorbing drugs or from fatigue that his normal faculties, perception, will, and judgment were so affected. Oh, yeah, it's just a standard thing that goes on and on. He had the last clear chance to avoid the collision. He failed to exercise due care and skill in the management of his vehicle. He failed to keep his vehicle properly maintained. It goes on and on.
Wow.
They're just throwing it out there saying, we'll just throw this crap at you. Maybe some of it will stick. He changed lanes without properly signaling. Here's the thing. When the accident happened, a woman ran across the street to me and said, I saw everything. Here's my number if you need a witness.
Right.
I thanked her, took the number, gave it to the police, and they called her, and I was found to not be at fault. But they say that's the part. They say they just say I was drunk, I was drugged.
Oh my God.
Well, how do they know?
They don't.
They don't. And
You didn't
also-
have a breathalyzer or
Not-
anything?
Freddie,
Yeah.
it's just a standard Canadian lawsuit in a collision. Even though they know she was at fault
Yes.
or found to be at fault, they're still suing my insurance company.
I can't. I'm so
I know, it's crazy.
gobsmacked by this. Also, no matter what happened, you're in the junction. You can't go more than 25
I was
in
barely
the
going
junction.
25.
Like that's.
He operated his vehicle when he knew or ought to have known that his vehicle was not in a fit mechanical condition.
What?
What does that mean?
Your Beamer?
At the time, it was
Was
the
your Beamer,
No,
yeah.
it doesn't. This isn't the weird thing about this, and the reason I bring it up is it's not specific
Oh my
to
God.
me or you. It's just the 20 things they'll sue you for
I can't
in the
believe
case of a
this.
car accident.
No, I did not know this. This is
And
crazy.
hope that one sticks.
And hope that something sticks. He
Wow.
was an incompetent driver, lacking reasonable skill and ability, and ought to not have attempted to operate his vehicle on the occasion in question.
What?
Like it really is something else.
She drove
Well,
into you.
and
She
I
drove
bet-
into me and ran at. By the way, that's the other thing. I should bring tomorrow. I'll try and find the what they say she has suffered. But again, it's not her specifically. It's just these are things a person may have suffered in a collision.
on a sunny weekend afternoon in the junction.
a drunkard, high, incompetent
Oh, yeah.
driver.
Because it was a
Yeah.
weekend.
Did not
It
change
was-
No,
lanes.
it was not. It was a weekday with Spencer. I was taking her to a photo shoot.
even-
and of
even
course,
more
she
so.
as soon as she found out that I was okay, she literally left the scene,
Right.
got into a cab. Remember that story?
Oh, yeah.
She's like, if you don't need me anymore, I'm like, well,
She ditched you. Go.
ditched me.
Your daughter ditched you, and the woman's screaming, "You could be my grandfather."
Hey, maybe Spencer talked her into suing you.
that's right.
Get some dough.
Yeah.
Spencer's behind this lawsuit.
Yeah.
She's trying to get her inheritance early.
But I bet this girl would be the first two to complain about insurance rates going up because this is why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it's just unbelievable.
this is unbelievable.
I just got my renewal for the end of October and it's up like $300 or $400 and I phoned why. Well, you know, the cost of doing business going up. You live in Brampton, a lot of fraud in Brampton, and it's like that's why we're paying high rates because of this nonsense.
Yeah.
Abuse of the system.
But I will say this, and knowing that I knew it was coming, and knowing I've already spoken to a lawyer, the day it arrived, I got it as a letter, like an official letter, and I could see it was from a law office. I'm like, oh, this can't be good. And so I got it, and I responded, sent it to or checked in with my insurance agent. But one day last week, I was here, and there was just a gentleman, you know, I happened to be in the office doing something. He knocked on the door, and he served me the lawsuit, like, and handed it to me as well, because they have to make sure that you've seen it, that they have to know that
Right.
it's been in your hands.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was still pretty weird. Like, it was a weird
How
feeling.
disgusting.
I know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
She wants a down payment for a house or something.
Probably.
Yeah.
Listen, man. I have no problem with this family. They're just trying to do what I guess a lot of people do.
Yeah, I know, but there's really no gray area here, Howard. It's an abuse of the system, and
Oh,
it's a money
absolutely.
grab.
Absolutely.
I have a problem with it, if you don't.
Okay, good.
Because it costs us all money.
It does.
That
Okay,
kind of
I take it back.
stuff.
I have a problem with him, but I'm distracted by trying to find the retirement Sherpa
No,
on
especially
Skype.
because you were found, you had a witness, the police ruled.
Yes.
That's the problem I have. If there was any gray area at all, and she wanted to go after him, it's still not right.
Did the police charge her? Like, did they give her like an improper lane change ticket or something like that?
Well, that's a great
movie
question.
violation?
I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is she was found to be at fault.
Right.
I was found to... Actually, you know what? Let me take that back. I was found to be not at fault.
Right.
Whether she was charged with fault or not, I don't know.
Right.
I can't say. And you're right. I shouldn't say I don't have a problem with her. I don't have a problem. I know I didn't do anything, so I'm not worried that this is going to come back and I'm going to have to give them any personal money. But it was a little bit, I don't know, not frightening or weird.
Well, sure it is.
It's a little disturbing when somebody hands you this paper,
Yeah.
or when you see it and you're being sued for $500,000.
That's insane.
I mean, if
Well,
anyone,
you're still sort of sucked into that world, and it's unsettling. I wouldn't like it on any level.
I mean, hey, listen, I got the retirement Sherpa on my side, but I'm not doing that well. Sherpa,
Good morning.
I don't have lawsuit money, do I?
We're okay for that. No problem.
Can you get a little closer to your whatever microphone you're using there?
I most certainly can. Absolutely.
There's my boy. Yeah, I was just explaining to the kids how I'm being sued for a car accident where I was found to be not at fault.
I've been twitching all morning with you guys
Okay.
there.
And you know what is so unfair about that? And you said it at the beginning. They're after $500,000. But if she can walk away with a quick $25,000, like your insurance company, at some point do they go, you know what, make her go away for here's $25,000, and she's happy. Yeah. There's a nice trip or something.
And I'll just wrap it up by saying what I've found out. Excuse me. Woo!
That accident caused you to sneeze.
I found out that the insurance company I have, and I won't mention it, is one of the best when it comes to these things.
Oh, good.
And I spoke to one of the people I spoke to said, yeah, we get this all the time. Don't worry. This company is they're not going to walk away from this. They don't want to pay that other insurance company. They don't. So speaking of which, isn't this a great segue, Tim? You portfolio manager, you. Ray J, a member of the Canadian Investors Protection Fund, and today we're talking about life insurance. And it's Life Insurance Awareness Month. Did that sneak up on us again?
Yes.
Every year. All of a sudden, summer's over, and I see the decorations, the life insurance decorations.
Dollar store.
Policies on a wire.
Hey, Nibs, what do you want to say?
I wish I had bite-sized M&Ms or whatever for Insurance Month. That's for sure.
Yes.
Have you guys ever experienced the joy of love bugs before down here?
I have. They're
Amanda would have, that's for sure. Good morning, Amanda.
Are they back? That's crazy. They're insane down there.
They are just crazy, crazy, crazy. And the rumor that it started in a experiment gone wrong at the University of Florida, which somebody told me is not true. It's they're from South America, I think.
Oh.
And what do they do?
They are just all over. So they're love bugs because they're always coupled. It takes up to 12 hours for the male, I guess, to impregnate the female.
Yeah, that sounds
she
about
died
right.
80 hours later or whatever. So there's 2 weeks or so in May, 2 weeks in September. And it's just like a swarm of them at times, Fred. They're just all over the cars. They're all over the homes. They got to vacuum up about 150 dead ones every morning. It's very exciting stuff.
But they don't affect you, like they don't bite you or anything like that?
They'll land on you every once in a while, but they're
they're
too busy
screwed.
to get on
Yeah,
to
you'll see them.
pay attention to you.
They're acidic, so make sure you keep that car clean because they'll destroy the acid from them will destroy
And
the car.
not to reveal too much, but there's a whole love bug section on Pornhub. And come on.
In 12 hours,
12 hours is a long time.
Isn't that tantric
I don't
sex
know
or
what that
something?
Takes a long time to
It's
upload.
11 and a half hours of trying to get a
Wasn't
boner.
Sting was into that, wasn't he? Yeah.
It's 11 and a half hours of trying to get a boner, 30 minutes of begging.
You're trying to get to the middle, and it's
Yeah.
like
Wrong.
Nibby.
Well,
Nibs,
again, Yes.
were we not going to talk about life insurance?
we could actually, ironically and not funnily, I was just at the bar with a buddy yesterday after golf, and the last time I sat there with him was in May, and 3 days with him and his wife, and 3 days later his wife died prematurely. So it was kind of freaky being back at the same spot with the same guy, and his life had been turned upside down. Thankfully not financially, they're early 70s, but yeah, we all know people that it happens to unexpectedly, of course, and it's a boring thing to talk about maybe, but I've delivered a few checks over the years that have made a big difference in people's lives because they had coverage. And if you pass prematurely, it doesn't really matter that your portfolio is doing great if you don't have enough coverage, right?
Absolutely. And we've had this discussion in various forms about whole versus universal and so forth. But what about if somebody's in their mid-50s and they're term is up, because I did that. I bought some term in my 30s. What happens in your mid-50s? Do most people just let it slide? Or would you recommend somebody as they get closer to retirement to have another life insurance policy?
Well, initially it's for income replacement, of course, when you're younger. As you get older, it might be to negate the taxes at death later on. I mean, you still pay the taxes, but can be equivalent of them, of course. Some people use that to keep the cottage in the family if the cottage has gone up a lot in value. So you could still need it. I was with a listener on the phone this week, and he's mid-50s and was looking at maybe a universal life to create some wealth versus term. And so there's, depending on your plan, right, depending on your situation, probably a need.
Something I would say to look for, when I was 50, I got a 10-year term, 50 to 60 on Delise and I. And I think the premium, it was like for $1 million, it was like 150 bucks a month. It wasn't bad. But when I hit 60, to renew it for another 10 years, it was like $900 a month. The story here is at 50, I could have bought a 20-year term for a vastly reduced sum. So that might be a good idea for people, if you're around 50, to look at the longer term to get you through like to 70 or something. Because those products are available. Right, Timmy?
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Fred. And nowadays it's not as linear as it used to be, where it was only 5 or 10 or 20.
Yeah.
Some insurers, you can get it for 13 years if you want it, or
Right.
17 years if you want it. And yeah, it works out a lot better cost-wise that way to get it for the right period. If the listeners, if anybody's got some renewals coming up and you're in good health, we'll see if Howard still is after his test there. But you're usually better to underwrite a new policy if you're in good health. It's a lot less expensive than just automatically renewing a previous.
Well, as you say, it's one of those things a lot of people sort of just start to fade away when we start talking about it, but it can save you money and it can make your life better, as you pointed out. If you have it, it's a check that you want to have it covered. And if you need information about this kind of thing, it's another great conversation with the retirement Sherpa, Tim.Niblett at raymondjames.ca. Just before we go, are we still going to be good for 10 o'clock?
Yeah, absolutely. No worries at all. Kind of funny. I got you guys now. I got BC at 9, you 10, and Colorado at 11. So I'm all over North America this morning.
And good news for the Gators. I saw a great shot of your television, but also you've gone to some games. What's happening with that?
Yeah, they played Tennessee, big rival, having a bad year on Saturday. 80,000, 82,000, I think, were there. So it was really exciting. The good guys won. Play again on Saturday. And as of not more exciting, I'm into Mindhunter now, thanks to you, and really enjoying it.
Yeah, isn't that great? Are you just getting into season 1, or have you gotten to season 2 yet?
No, just down 2 episodes so far. I'm really loving the tunes in it, actually, too,
Yeah.
right? Lots of good music in there as well, and super interesting story.
Listen, my friend, always great to connect with you. The Retirement Sherpa, of course, he's always available for even a second look. And if you want to talk insurance, he's your guy. Good talking to you, my friend, and we'll speak to you in a little while.
My pleasure, everybody. Enjoy and profit.
There you go. All right. We'll take a quick break here. Chef Jordan Wagman returns to our program in the next half hour or so. And if you're watching us on Twitch TV, before the show is done, I'll reveal the monitors situation for my heart right now. And, I don't know what they're going to find. It could be all blocked up there. This could be this could be the end.
Oh, you could be dead by this time next week.
Who's going to help you with your pool? It's Humble and Fred Radio.
Although then she won't have anybody to sue.
Right.
Just sue my estate. Humble and Fred Radio on Funny 820 and at humbleandfredradio.com.
Don't see too many faces coming in out of the rain to hear the jazz go down.
also
What
kind
were
of
you on?
well, I've been on Advil forever, but I was on a drug called Toradol this summer, which is everyone I tell that to. Most of the doctors they make this face like ooh, because it's a very one of the side effects is what happened to me, but it was years of it, none of that, but just so anyway. My point is I've changed some things in my diet the last 9 days, and it's funny. I was always pretty good because I don't drink, but. Honestly, I weighed myself today. I weigh 186. It's the lowest I've weighed.
How much weight did you lose?
In the last couple of weeks, I've lost like 3 or 4 pounds.
It's not a surprise.
Because I've stopped eating all the shitty things I was eating, and I've just been eating like regular food.
Right.
Not that I was eating that much crap, but I was. I was eating a lot of peanuts. Every night I've eaten chocolate and things, and just maybe not taking, eating a lot. Because my thought was that, well, I don't drink, so I can eat anything I want. But I'm also going to be 60 soon, so. Anyway, I've been eating a lot cleaner recently. I've gone back to it.
Subsequent to my last visit,
Yeah.
it's very clear that people listening to your show are interested in this subject matter.
Where are they?
because
What, did you get some feedback?
2 people booked it.
Okay, well then, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's just relax. Do we got any more coffee for this guy?
Oh, I'm great.
want one?
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll be with you in a second. Then let's just save that to.
Sure.
Move over just this way a little bit. Yeah, so you're good there. Perfect.
No, it's interesting that even Tim comes up with like little anecdotes, little bugs. Have some little weather spin. Yeah,
But I have a theory, by the way.
What is that? You scared?
Yeah.
Of what?
Well, listen. You, me, Jeff, Danny, we all have our own insecurities, right? And ours manifest themselves in other ways. That's what it is, and I'm fun with
busy.
It's why.
Running,
Can you just turn the audio off for a minute?
Yeah.
I wanna hold them like they do in Texas, please. Fold them, let them hit me, raise it, baby, stay with me. I love it. Love game, intuition, play the cards with spades to start. And after he's been hooked, I'll play the one that's on his heart. I'll get him hard, show him what I got. I'll get him hard, show him what I got. Can't read my, no, we can't read my poker face.
All right, it's Wednesday, and a pretty nice one here in the Golden Horseshoe. Great to be part of your morning, Hamilton, Stony Creek. Barker's got a jet. She's not feeling great. You're gonna. Did you see the heart monitor? Did I show it to you? That's all right. I'll show you. Yeah, show it. I'll show it.
Are you all right between here and home?
Do you want us to get you a ride? Yeah, something's not working out. Barker had to go. Yeah. She can't eat raw spinach.
That's too bad. I love raw spinach.
Okay, well, you come in. You go be better.
Feel better.
Yeah, feel better. Okay. Well, that's a drag. So, we were talking about this lawsuit, and I don't want to get into it too much. I'll just show you. It's interesting. I found the piece about what they claim. It's very interesting here. So,
who claims what?
They claim that now I was hit. So I was the person hit, and this person came out of their car, and I wanted to make sure they were okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this person started to yell at me like it was my fault. Literally, I was in a live lane, and they hit me. I will tell you this. I was found to be not at fault. But in the lawsuit, it says, as a result of the motor vehicle accident, the plaintiff sustained serious and lasting personal injuries, including, but not limited to, a dislocation, sprain, strain of joint and ligaments of the hip, sprain, strain of the lumbar spine, cervical pain in the thoracic spine. And it's a long list of things that may have happened to her. As a result of the motor vehicle, the plaintiff has undergone and will continue to undergo in the future therapy, rehabilitation, and other forms of medical treatment.
What was the speed when the actual collision happened?
Well, as Amanda said, I was in the junction on Dundas heading east, and
you weren't even moving.
I was barely. I wasn't.
Yeah, you weren't moving.
I was barely moving.
Right.
I was literally creeping around.
Right.
Creeping down the road when the car hit us.
Right.
On the right-hand side, on the passenger side of the front end of my BMW, which was inoperable, basically. Almost inoperable. I could just drive it to where it needed. No, I got it towed. I couldn't. That's right, Phil. I couldn't drive it. I got it towed.
Right.
So, but remember, this has nothing to do with this accident. This is what they do in every accident if they're going to sue you. Because none of those things actually happened, but they sue you.
And those things don't necessarily show up in an X-ray either.
Well, and none of those things were germane to this particular incident.
No.
They just are the things you get sued for in this country. Crazy, huh?
There's a real moral question there, too.
Yeah.
I remember years ago I slipped on a wet floor in it was A&P at the time. And the manager ran over and gave me the bag of milk that I was about to buy. And I told the story, and people said, "Oh, you should have laid on the ground there. You'd not moved." Called 911. You could have jumped all over it. Yeah. People say that to you. Never entered my mind. And then it becomes a moral thing, right? If you're really injured, by all means. But if you're not, it just costs us all, right?
I couldn't pull it off, and neither could you. There are people that can do that, and there are people that would allow their lawyer to sue somebody that was found not at fault in an accident. I couldn't do it. I couldn't go through the rigmarole, and I couldn't, I just couldn't pull it off.
If common sense really prevailed, then Spencer should have sued the driver because she hit you on the right side. She'd be sitting on the right side, right?
Yeah. I mean,
so
I
technically she'd get the
really
injury.
should say that.
Counter.
Yes.
I should counter sue and say my daughter was her physical and mental persona has never been the same.
But it is true, though.
She used to like her daddy.
She used to like
Now she'll never
Before
be in
the accident, she used to like me. And that was the day it all turned.
Yeah.
All right.
That's great.
Listen, so that's what's going on. We'll talk more about that as time progresses, I'm sure. Our guest is returning to our program. He's an award-winning chef, teacher, advocate, author, and so much more. He's here to talk about CBD and THC and the healthy, positive effects they have on your body. Please welcome back the man, Chef Jordan Wagman.
Thank you.
Wagyu.
Thank you.
Now,
and I brought gifts again.
Yeah, you brought the little. What were those? Paleo.
Those were vegan peppermint drops.
Right.
These
containing how much THC?
Those only had about 1 milligram.
Yeah.
These have it's about 3.5.
Yeah, it's not much.
No, it's not very much. These are my peanut butter and chocolate.
Yeah.
Totally shelf stable. So I'm really excited about these.
Well, before we get into that,
Sure.
great to see you again. You mentioned during the break that how did you put it that this show has the kind of audience?
Yeah, what really struck me from our last discussion was the number of people who reached out. So obviously this topic is resonating with people, both the use of THC and CBD from both a recreational standpoint and a health standpoint. Obviously, from where I sit, I'm looking at it. Well, from both, if I'm being totally honest. I enjoy it from a recreational standpoint, but my life has never been the same since I included CBD in my diet, for sure.
Yeah, I got to get back on that train because obviously I was telling you that I've had some stomach issues, but I think, I was really into CBD early, and I just, we had a whole bunch of it from one of our potential sponsors. They gave us a ton of it, and 1,000 milligrams tincture. It's very expensive, but I think there's no doubt now there are values to it beyond just recreational.
And it's not, CBD you're not really taking from a recreational standpoint, but it would be more of a long-term commitment. It would be an investment in your future. It's not something, I hear people taking CBD for headaches, so to speak. I'm not a doctor. I don't know the science necessarily behind it. I only know how it impacts me. If I'm going to heal my psoriasis or keep it in check, it's not something I'm going to take when I have a flare-up. It's actually something I'm taking on a day-to-day basis to get ahead of that flare-up.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a huge flare-up at the beginning of the summer, and as a result of everything that I do, gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, I don't eat nightshade vegetables, and really try to keep a clean diet, it allowed me to rebound much faster. But really, it's remarkable how many people are interested in eating CBD and THC. So,
and that's where it comes from with you. It's a problem with psoriasis.
It is, for sure. And just
like a lifetime.
It is, since
Yeah.
I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like you said it's insurance week or month?
Life insurance month.
Life
according
insurance
to the
month.
Retirement Sherpa.
Excellent, excellent. Well, it's actually psoriasis and eczema week.
Is it?
It is.
Oh.
It is. You
Interesting.
didn't see the decorations
Well,
for
I was going to
psoriasis?
say, I got to throw up my lights. 'Cause,
Eczema patches on them.
Exactly. Exactly.
I haven't done any shopping for that.
I'll expect your gift.
I don't know what is it too late? It's beginning to look a lot psoriasis.
Right.
Everywhere I go.
On every part of me.
Wow, you guys can sing too.
Do you?
No, we can't.
So where is your psoriasis? Is it
head to toe?
Oh, wow.
Head to toe. I mean, you can see the scars on my hands, but my hands are covered typically when I'm not treating myself well, especially getting into the wintertime now.
Yeah.
The winter months are horrible for me. But
do you use any light therapy?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. From time to time.
I have a buddy. It's a growing problem with him, and last year he drove to Florida, and it was amazing. His hands were ravaged again.
Right.
And by the time he hit the Carolinas, it just disappeared.
It's amazing how that happens.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Just it's not as dry. There's more moisture in the air. And
Yeah, it's for sure. I
yeah.
lived in a tent at the Dead Sea for a year. Getting psoriasis treatments with the
Were you being
dames.
punished?
No,
That
no,
was
actually, I wasn't. But it was a very humbling experience. I used to love sitting in the sun. Now I treat it as a job because that was my job for a year. I'd wake up every morning. I'd be in the sun at 7 or 8 in the morning, stay in the sun until 6 or 7 at night, whenever the sun went down, and you'd rotate.
To deal with your psoriasis?
Yeah, absolutely, and I was clear as a result. I got clear.
But do you have to wear sunscreen plus do that, or
You know what? To be honest, you're wearing baby oil. It's the
Wow.
lowest point on earth. So, so they say a lot of the bad rays are filtered out.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, you're putting baby oil in the sun. So how healthy could that really be?
Jordan's got a whole bunch of stuff going on. If you want to check out what he's up to, what is the main site here? I know there's lots of ats and hashtags.
JordanWagman.com.
JordanWagman.com. You can hire Jordan. He'll cook for you. He'll teach you how to cook for yourself. He's written a bunch of books, including one on baby food.
2 on baby food, as a matter of fact.
Well, one of your baby food cookbooks currently sits at number 2 on the Amazon bestseller list. So Jordan knows what he's talking about. Okay, people?
Ish.
He's a sales leader and psoriasis conqueror, which is also a Game of Thrones name. But how do you, you've made some little THC balls here now, and I know I've been really getting into more edibles this summer than I ever have. And I'm right now at around 10 milligrams, a little gummy. Rachel and I, my girl, we were sort of going halves. This summer we had half 10. But we've gotten to the point where we about 10 milligrams is a nice place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can get stronger. But 10 milligrams is when I start to notice in 40 minutes I feel a little bit high. Not terribly so. Do you know, have you ever tried these? Like gummies? You've eaten some.
Cookies. I've tried.
Everyone has different tolerances. That's the only thing that scares me about these is how do you know what's going to be too much?
Well, it's a great question, but that's why every time I come and visit you, I will bring you treats that are small.
Right now.
They're very small doses.
Each one's 3.5?
Yep.
All right.
So
this isn't going to. This will even barely register.
Yeah, absolutely. But the difference is you may feel it a lot faster.
Yeah, baby.
You may feel it a lot faster.
I hope so.
I keep things very small dosage so that you can self-medicate. So that I know my limit is before I got on a plane, I did 100 milligrams.
What?
Yeah, I did. And it was lights out, something that I truly should never probably do again.
Well, that's to my point. Those billboards or signposts that say slightly high is too high. That's not true.
Yeah.
Because when you're too high, you know it.
Yeah. No, listen,
why did you do that?
I'm not a huge fan of flying since 9/11, to be honest. And I'm not a great traveler. And just ask my wife, I'm definitely not a great traveler.
So being that high makes flying in the building not so bad.
A little bit more relaxing for sure. Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But I know there are people, you may be good at 10. Some are good at 3.
Yeah.
But if I give you 3 and then say eat as many as you want, I mean, you can manage your own sort of tolerance. It's much easier for me to plan accordingly.
So will you cook for people and use THC in all the dishes?
Not all the dishes, absolutely not.
But you let them know, okay, this course has got this much THC.
100%.
Right.
So I'll do 14 courses, 15 courses.
Wow.
And the vast majority will be CBD.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is almost counter. So I'll start with THC, and then I'll counter that THC and bring you down, giving you a ton of CBD, and then I'll end the night with a lot more THC.
And what's the idea to get people in that habit? Show them what they can cook or how they can sort of change their lives?
So
because at the end of the day, it's got to taste good too, right?
100%. And
right.
I come at it from both cooking with THC and CBD and learning how to cook. Quite frankly, there's no difference when you book a meal with me or dinner with me at my restaurant, which is my home. There's no difference in the food. Just one is medicated and one isn't. But it's the exact same food. Duck confit is duck confit.
Okay.
You know, a smoked carrot is a smoked carrot. But I will include my infusions at the end. Reason being, I don't cook with the oils necessarily. The more you cook with them, the more they will degrade and the less of an effect they'll have.
And CBD is known because of the way it's made up. It'll take away, if you're not too high, but it will take it mitigates some of the THC.
Absolutely.
Like for some reason it counterbalances it.
Absolutely.
In fact, if you ever are in a situation when you're starting to green out, if you take some CBD, it will help you. It will take away some of the effect of the marijuana.
I learned that from friends at Strain Print.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I learned that from friends at Strain Print.
We got some Strain Print people coming in tomorrow.
Yeah.
One of our favorite groups. It's just interesting, through diet and using these, components, you've mitigated some of your own health issues.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. I can't mislead people by telling them that I am 100% good 100% of the time.
No one is.
But you know what? I feel that because I rebound a lot quicker, physically, mentally I'm a lot stronger.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, it's a lifelong change, and there are always changes, and there's always education to be done. I'm always learning.
And did you take pharmaceuticals for your psoriasis?
Oh man. Oh,
And
did
now
I?
you're off those, or
I haven't been on them for years.
at all?
No, when I was
Well, that's a bonus right there.
huge. But
Yeah.
when I moved to the States for my culinary career when I was younger, I couldn't get health insurance as a result because of all the medicines that I was on, from methotrexate and cyclosporin. And so I'm talking people. Not a day goes by, and this is something that really is important to me in my life, not a day that goes by that I don't speak to someone who suffers with an autoimmune, whether psoriasis or Crohn's, and I'm talking to people about going from diagnoses immediately to a biologic medicine. And there's so many steps that need to be taken in the middle of that. I'm not saying my biologics and pharmaceuticals don't have a place. They do have a place. Quality of life is important for everyone. But for someone like me, where the lesser of two evils is the psoriasis that I know, I'd rather deal with the in-between. And hey, you know what? If my quality of life sucks, I can't get up in the morning, I can't work, I'm mentally and physically spent, then that's when biologics and that's when those medicines should come in. But thankfully, I've been off them a long time.
Well, and you said something interesting as well, that when you're physically able to cope with...
Sure.
Because they're even in this little episode I've had the last couple of weeks, and you went through this last fall, it just kind of plays on your mind all the time. You're like, okay, now do I have to go this next? Like, I've got a heart monitor on me now. I mean, and now I got to go this. It just becomes your life a little bit, and that's why I didn't really want to get into it, because I don't want that to become my everyday. Just talking about the latest thing that's wrong with me.
You know, can I just to sort of take it back for one sec? That you mentioned something about you're not the type of person who would stay on the floor. Because we don't have time to deal with suing people. That's not the people that we are.
Right.
We don't have time to mess around with being sick. And who's got time for that stuff? I want to live. That's my choices. I want to live. This allows me to live a little bit.
So if you're interested, Jordan's got all kinds of information. I'm sorry, I didn't write down the site. What is the site again?
JordanWagman.com.
JordanWagman.com.
Yep. Instagram shows all my food, and that's
How
Chef
old
Jordan
are your kids?
Wagman. Almost 16 and 12.
Because my girls are about, a few years older than yours, 25, 24, and 21, or whatever. And so I really haven't had to have a whole lot of conversations with them about marijuana use. But you're in the sweet spot.
Great.
You know, you're a guy, you're a weed advocate, you use it in your cooking, you use it in your life. How do you talk to your kids about it?
So I'm so glad you actually just brought that up. I just harvested my plants 2 days ago. I grew 8-foot marijuana plants.
Nice.
I learned a lot through traveling and touring some LPs and learning how to dry the. So I talk about with my son all the time, but I'm looking at it from a medical standpoint. They understand, both of my children understand the impact that it has on my life. It's normalized in my life. It's something that's a very normal thing. We don't criminalize marijuana, but there are things that we do want to criminalize. So not everything is in that basket. But I'm very open and honest with Jonah. I have to be, because he's 16 years old. The kid is 6'1" and in grade 11. You know, is he smoking joints? Of course, I'm sure he is. Is he out there partying with his friends? Of course. But knowing that it's not something he has to hide from us. If there's a problem, he'll call us. If he's nervous about something, he'll call us. He knows that the hard drugs are the hard drugs and he needs to stay away from them. But we try to have open discussions.
You know, there's a lot of parents. I was one that when my kids reached like 16, 17, I let them have a beer in front of me. Back then, absolutely not a joint, because it was illegal and I was just in that weird situation. I wonder how that's changing now with parents sort of, you know, because when your kid's 16, you sit and have a beer with them, you hope, hey, maybe I'm easing them into this, and if I'm around them, we can talk about the responsibilities. Is that happening now?
Would you smoke a joint with your daughters?
With one of them, yeah, maybe. You know, but I had a little different situation. You know, one of my daughters just breezed through all of that, and is now a semi-grown adult. My other daughter was the kid that didn't breeze through all of that. It wasn't easy for her, and some of the mistakes or some of the things that worked with my first kid turned out to be mistakes with my second kid.
Sure.
But this is an interesting. The reason it's such a fascinating topic, at least to me, is that, you know, you can be prescribed marijuana. Nobody is prescribing you to have a glass of Jack Daniels at 4 o'clock.
No.
So it's funny if you go back to the history of how marijuana became a Category 1 narcotic or whatever. It was criminalized in the early 70s for no real good reason. That's a whole other story. But we don't think about alcohol the same way we think about marijuana now.
Only as goofy home remedies type thing. Because if I was a kid and I had an upset stomach, sometimes my parents would give me a little, just take this little bit of rye and it'll settle.
Sure.
It'll settle your stomach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great old Yiddish term.
And I mean, that happened.
But not in the same way. Like, I mean,
no, I know what you're saying.
The reason I brought up the medical part is because now you have a conversation with your son Jonah and my daughter Spencer, because you're talking about something that is prescribed by. It has been proven to have medical qualities as well as the recreational aspect. Yeah,
I'm not ready to smoke a joint with Jonah.
Yeah,
I'm not ready. And
are you ready to have a beer? Are you ready to have a beer with him?
So it's funny because
that's a great question.
I buy him beer.
Isn't that interesting?
But why would you buy him a beer and not sit? First of all,
can't
no one's
defend it.
smoking
I can't rationalize it.
No one's smoking anything.
You know why? Because we're still
smoke joints. You're like old school, man.
But you know why? Because we're still too early in this.
Yeah, you're
10
right.
years from now, that'll probably, if you ask a parent 10 years from now, it'll probably be a different situation.
I found marijuana in my father's man purse when I was 12 or 13, and it was nothing, still to this day, I don't even think, unless he's listening, that I've ever divulged that to him, that I found that pot. We've never had that discussion. And I'm now cutting down my marijuana and calling up to Jonah and saying, hey, Jones, come and take a look how I'm hanging it in the garage.
The difference is, and this is the one thing, and I don't have the research in front of me, but, you can have a beer with a 17-year-old child, and it won't affect their brain health. There are studies that show that teenage brains still, especially late teens, 17, 18, 19, are still forming, and marijuana may not be the best thing for them in that period of time.
Right. Well, there's a consideration.
So that's one of the considerations that's not the same as beer. And that would be the only hesitation I would have, is that, there's some research that shows it's not the best thing for kids.
Speaking of growing plants, I was reading a story the other day that there's a big problem in the city now with condos and everything. People having their little patch and growing their plant. Theft.
Yeah.
People are reaching over and stealing other people's plants now.
Big time.
Because everybody's growing them because it's legal.
So
that's funny.
I'm on my 4th truck. I've had 3 trucks stolen in the last 3 years.
Really?
So now my wife parks behind me every single night, and I have a big truck, so it hides my plants way in the back. But we've had that discussion numerous times. Yeah, for sure.
Well, listen, man, what a pleasure to see you again.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for having me.
JordanWagman.com. Great information, and this won't be the last time we're going to have these discussions.
Absolutely. Thank
Good
you.
Seeing you, sir.
Yeah, nice
Thanks
seeing you.
for
Feel good.
I'm going to be fine. Thanks for the little thing.
Yeah, I'll leave them with you. Enjoy it. All right.
Enjoy those all day.
Thanks, guys.
I had one.
Did you have one too? Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
And now you have kaleidoscope eyes. It's crazy.
Do I?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Lucy. We'll just take a quick break on Funny 820, Canada's comedy superstation, and around the world at humbleandfredradio.com.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Right on. All the best.
Yeah, I'm just thinking maybe I'm not to pimp you for information, but I don't know. I'm just trying to think about some ways to, I really have eaten cleaner in the last week and a half than I have in a long time, and it really is simple. I'm just eating some salmon. I was vegetarian about 14 months, but and I was having dinner with my girl last night. I said, I've already gotten, as I said, I feel better, but it's also I know what to eat. It's a lot of, I should probably, do you have maybe a time for a quick chat sometime?
I of course do, but I was going to suggest, as I was sitting here earlier, if it's possible, why don't you guys, you can either do it from my place, or why don't you just come over and try some of the food? That way next time when we chat.
Or that would be great. Or conversely, maybe we book you so that you bring in a couple of dishes and we all try them.
Why don't
That's
I-
easier.
the
Because I
next time
promise
we
you
can
that
just plan that.
going to your house is amazing, but I just know it'll be harder to arrange that.
So then fine.
Okay.
So then I can bring in some
Yeah, tell
food
them,
next
Amanda, we're
time.
going to book you and
Okay.
come back in the next couple months
All
with
right.
some tryouts.
Okay.
Jordy,
Awesome.
all the best to you.
take it
Happy
easy.
New Year.
All the best.
Okay, we need,
Right on.
what did you do last time? You did Gig Sky, and the CDN, we need the chamber plan and strain print. Beautiful.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, good to see you again. Nice to see you. There you go. Smile, boys.
Hey, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
See you soon.
See ya.
Your chocolate taste.
Look at the size of this pink lady.
It looks like the water pump is broken.
What water pump?
So the coffee maker has a water pump inside.
No, I'll get a new one. Cause that gets a lot of use, man.
Oh yeah, 3 years of that actually.
Yeah.
So I probably have to get a new one.
Okay, do it. So there's no coffee?
At least until tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna go to Costco and get one right after.
I'm still battling on Facebook here. It's great.
Why?
Still
Why are
gold.
they still yelling? I mean, if you say Britney Spears sucks to the Britney Spears fan club, obviously that's gonna be a problem. Right.
Yeah,
But I know
that's
sometimes
basically
it's
what I'm
fun
saying.
and you learn. And
I've
you
got
fucking, and you.
I'm learning about people out there right now. That's really what
Well, I
I'm
can
learning.
tell you,
I know
I've
it's a
gone,
lost
gone
cause.
through this and I've just retired from it because none of it matters. They're all just a bunch of fucking
Yeah.
assholes
I know.
Yeah.
who probably
Can't read a book.
no, who if you met them in person wouldn't have shit to say.
Yeah.
But they can fucking hide behind their little computers, and that's why I gave it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Dashboard drivers. Somehow their opinion is more important than yours. It makes no sense if everyone has an equal say in this. They passed a fake news law in Singapore a couple weeks ago because there have been Facebook posts where comments like that have been appearing underneath.
well,
They were accusing the Prime Minister of improprieties and things like that, and obviously it's not true unless it's been investigated by journalists, right? They were talking about the estate of some other Prime Minister, his son's Prime Minister now, and he's like, this is slander, and so they had to come up with a new
yeah,
law.
I don't know how
kind
they're
of
going to
police it.
combat it over here, man.
I don't know how they're going to do it, but in Singapore, since everyone's so, they're happy with
It's,
the government
it's
doing
amazing
that.
what some people post is the gospel. It's just
Yeah.
fucking unbelievable.
Like, who the hell are you? No matter which side you're on, who the hell are you, right? I unfriended someone for that reason. She's just like, why did you unfriend me? And I'm like, you keep yelling on my Facebook wall with some other guy. I was like, come on. Oh, Brian Jadan. Brian Jadan was commenting, then she started commenting.
Well, again, they're all just a bunch of
off.
people who
Yeah.
don't have anything fucking better to do,
Yeah.
and fuck
Oh,
them.
we're back. So I was like, do
Yes.
you understand that you're writing on someone's wall?
Ooh, yeah. Well, all right, well, jamming. I wanna jam it with you. We're jamming, jamming, and I hope you like
Trying to do a radio show. This dog won't stop barking.
People go, do you listen to the Humble and Fred show? Is that the show with the barking dog?
Barking dog show.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yes.
We're back here. Fred's high as a kite. He took some gummies. Fred's gonna get outrageous now. Yeah.
I'm gonna take a tie-dyeing course. I'll tie-dye all our t-shirts.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Maybe it'll be the same color eventually.
Yes.
Why don't you F off and tie-dye? All right. It's great to be with you. We've talked about weed again. We're going to talk about it again tomorrow. Hockey scandal. That's what we're talking about now. This is a great story. The Toronto Maple Leafs, and you said this, I think it was off the air. You thought they were about to name this kid captain.
Well, that's been the rumor. The Maple Leafs claim they're going to name a captain before the regular season starts 1 week from tonight. And Austin Matthews has been nearer at the top of that list. And now the story breaks this morning, something that happened in May in Scottsdale, Arizona, his hometown. Him and some buddies apparently into the sauce, a little pissed up. And there's a security guard at his condo complex in a car. And him and his buddies went up and tried to open the door of the car with her in it. It was a female. And she jumped out and freaked out, as you can imagine. I mean, think about that for a young woman. 3 big fellas. And then she explained that, hey, don't do that. And Austin Matthews apparently said, oh, we were just kidding around. We just wanted to see how you'd react. And she said, well, how I'm reacting is I'm a former soldier and I suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome. Mm-hmm. So apparently Austin's buddy said, oh, listen, we're sorry. Hey, we'll back off. We were just horsing around. Please don't report this. And then for some reason at that point, Austin pulls down his pants.
Give her a slap
Yeah,
shot.
we're laughing. Not his undies. He did not expose himself.
Okay.
He bent over and mooned her with his underwear and apparently tried to spread his cheeks again in underwear. What the effect of that is, I don't know. And now it's come back to bite him in the ass. And apparently there is video, as there always is with surveillance video and around a condo. I mean, figure it out. Now he's got that to deal with, and I think the charge is public mischief.
Yes.
I don't know if there's assault attached to that or whatever, but
Maple Leafs have said in a statement that they're aware of the complaint of disturbing the peace against. I love how they say, don't say Austin Matthews, forward Austin Matthews. They have to give his position in the hockey world.
yes.
Not center.
No.
Not defense. Not specialty.
Yeah. In case you thought he was a goaler.
That's right. Against forward Austin Matthews.
Pulls down his
He
pants.
spells his name weird too. Auston. Is that how you spell Austin? I thought it was Austin.
With an I.
Yeah. Anyway, Austin is currently cooperating fully with the relevant authorities, but neither he nor the club will comment any further out of respect for the process involved.
Well, you look at it this way. Given today's landscape, pretty tough in the week that comes down to name the guy the captain. I mean, they could very well do it, but it's a bit awkward.
Like everything else with this team. It's
Of
totally
course.
awkward. It's completely awkward.
Listen, I got in the truck this morning. I heard John Moore say that. Oh, there's a problem with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I said, what now? And then Austin Matthews said, well, what now?
Of course.
And then he reads it. And you may look at that and go, what's the big deal? But the thing is, in 2019, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
In the 70s, people hung moons everywhere, and nobody gave a crap.
I never really got
Yeah.
that. I mean, I'm sure I did it as a kid, but that whole idea of like, oh, I'm going to prank you. I'm going to show you my butthole.
Listen,
okay.
in Scarborough, I'd drive up Kennedy Road, and somebody would just drive by, and somebody in the back seat would hang a moon at you.
Yeah, happened
They
all the
just
time.
did it all the time.
You don't even know what we're talking
Yeah.
about,
No,
do you?
I did
Yeah.
this in the 90s.
Yeah.
I was allowed. I was a
Phil,
hockey player.
have you ever hung a sang moon?
What segment?
Sorry, that's a Korean reference.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, people did it all the time, but you're right. It's 119. You can't walk up, especially a female security officer. It's true. You can't do it. But isn't it weird? It's such a Maple Leaf story because he got this kid, Austin. I don't care how he spells his name. One of the best players in the league. One of the best players this team's had for a long time.
Just ranked by TSN as the 6th best player in the NHL.
Right. So, no, it can't just be a guy has a great career, even becomes captain and helps the team. No. The Leafs captain, he's going to moon a security guard at 2 in the morning. And
he couldn't even get that right because his undie pants were still on.
He's a Leaf. They don't even know how to do that.
Back in the 70s, you had to put up with the bare ass and the big sack hanging there. It was sickening.
You ice the puck.
That's right.
And women used to hang moons all the time too back in those
A
days.
rare sighting, though.
Oh, I
happened.
saw a few.
It happened, but it was rarer.
Yeah, it was more men, of course.
Yeah, because guys, when they got it, that there was no social media, but just word spread from town to town. Hey, everybody, this is what we're doing now.
Just like bums spread from town to town.
Oh, dip-a-dip-a-dip-oo.
But it
Can't even
just.
talk to you right now. Our coffee machine is broken.
But just think of the Maple Leafs, though. They're probably, if it was Austin Matthews, over the next few days, they were probably thinking, how are we going to make this announcement? How are we going to bring in the history of it and the Toronto Maple Leaf tradition, whatever that's worth? How are we going to do this and make it sort of like a moment to remember? And now this wrench has been thrown into it.
He pulled his pants down. That's why he's captain.
It's true, though.
Yes.
It's so Maple Leafs, They were going to bring them out. Now they have to bring them out to this song, everybody.
Yeah.
Boom. It's so marvelous night for a moon dance. Bow, bow.
What I don't like is trying to open the car doors of that younger security. To me, that's the worst part of it. What were they thinking?
They were drunk.
The booze, right? The booze.
Yeah. If you're hepped up on the booze, on the hooch, Phil.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to
He
happen.
wouldn't know.
Don't carjack her.
Phil wouldn't have one of those little THC balls that we ate. Look at him.
Yeah, what would happen, do you think, if you had one? You've had one, right? Yeah, they wouldn't. Literally,
probably
it
won't do
won't
much.
affect you at all.
Yeah.
You and I especially, but you barely, and you
I get buzzed on half a light beer, so I would probably
When's
try
the
to.
last time you had half a light beer in your life?
2012.
Oh, it was a night to remember.
If I had
Howard.
one of these, I'd be trying to brew coffee for my own body, right? It's like I'd be very high.
How do you know that?
Well, because half a beer, and not a full pint, half a beer got me buzzed. Like my heart's pumping like nuts, and I'm like, I don't think I should be alive right now. That sort of thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Half a beer.
Like,
And
I
you
don't
thought
like
you were
this
going
feeling.
to die.
No.
Yeah.
So you introduced half a beer would have, let's say, 6% alcohol. You had half of it, so you were basically given, a few ounces of beer, and you felt like your heart was going to explode.
I just don't have the enzyme that breaks down alcohol. I just don't.
How do you know that?
Is this a scientific study?
Yes,
How
Asian
do you
flush.
know?
You've heard of it, right?
What?
Yeah, they call it Asian flush. There are a lot of people who are particularly Asian who can't handle alcohol. We have an enzyme in human bodies that usually helps,
That's interesting.
counter the alcohol. I don't
Glad
have
I'm
it.
not Asian.
It's poison.
Wait a second.
I said I'm glad I'm not Asian for that reason, Howard. That's all. Only that reason.
No,
Only
that's not
that
what
reason.
I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
You're not Asian?
What if you find out Pearl's a real piss tank?
My wife can't even have coffee.
Oh, okay.
Because she can't handle caffeine, let alone alcohol.
Wouldn't that be great, though?
Ironic. Yeah.
Pearl moves over here and she's just at the firkin every night, slamming it back.
Yeah.
While Phil's going to bed at 7.
Getting in fights.
Get
How dare you?
into scraps, yelling about watching a Leaf game. What if Pearl turns out to be like the anti-Phil?
Yeah.
She gets over. She's for the last few years she's been all quiet and pretending she doesn't speak English. She
Yeah.
gets over here and she's got her Leaf sweater on.
Yeah.
She goes to the pub every night.
Oh, we're so old as a couple. I can't begin to tell you.
No, you think.
We're both sipping decaf tea together. It's like, what the heck's going on here? I'm
Can I
30,
even
you're
get
32.
Can I even get a cup of tea out of that thing? No, I guess not.
It's because there's a water pump in that
So
machine.
our
It's gone.
our machine is broken.
After
It's-
3 years
it's
of use.
3 years. That's not bad. All right. I was telling Freddie that it's such an NHL scandal. Guy
great point.
moons a security officer. It's
With his
serious.
underwear
With
on.
his underwear on.
Yeah.
It's like in the NFL yesterday, some guy murdered somebody.
Yeah, right.
For sure. I don't even know.
Or there's Antonio Brown thing where he's literally threatening a woman for disclosing something about him.
Oh yeah.
And he's let go.
In the NFL this week, I guarantee you, somebody killed somebody, and somebody beat their wife, and all this other thing.
Dogfighting.
This Antonio Brown guy stood. He had contract in the past year. Contract's worth $40 million, and he's. You know what he's going to get out of it? $150,000. That's how nuts this guy is, and he's still defiant. Now that's a scandal. But you're right. In the NHL, it's a moon with underwear on.
Yeah, it's a the Maple Leafs arrived, and you can see the potential captain. His tie isn't quite done. Do the NFL? Do other sports do that? By the way,
Show up and
travel
yeah.
in suits.
I think a
They
lot
do,
of
yeah.
I think a lot of players choose.
I don't think baseball players do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
professional athlete thing to do. It's kind of
Yeah.
like just going from amateur or minor league to and stepping up. You have to start wearing ties and you
Yeah.
have to start dressing up. And being
Interesting.
there an hour before the game, 2 hours before the game, 4 hours before the game.
And nowadays, I think they do it on their own accord because they have the dough and they like to look good.
Yeah.
Like they always show the Leafs and the visiting team getting off the bus before the game, and
Well, I knew the hockey
Yeah.
guys did that. I didn't know other. I can't imagine baseball players. They're
Yeah, they
traveling
do.
82 times a year or whatever.
yeah, but they like to show it off, man. The bling and the suits, and
All right.
that's their chance.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. You know. I don't know.
Well, now you know.
So, all right, Phil. So you're a piss tank. You have a half a beer every decade.
Maybe
And you
one
think?
day.
Well, here's the thing, though. You probably wouldn't be much affected by the THC in this little tiny ball. Like, wouldn't you just like to? I don't know, just for an experiment. Maybe tomorrow you take one of these balls at the beginning of the show. Usually it takes between 30 and 40 minutes for it to kind of work its way into your bloodstream.
You don't like me fully conscious. I don't know. We'll
That's
find
not
out.
true. We love you, like a little baby, like a son that we never. We feel like you're our. We got together and we made a son.
Yeah,
You're
we did.
You're that boy.
I get high off and leave.
You'd have a good nap on that couch over there.
The
Very
weird thing
nice
has just
nap.
happened. He said, "I get high off of and leave."
Like
Then
the-
he giggled, and then he just wrote something down. What did you write down?
Oh no, I'm just doing my work. That's all.
I know. What did
No,
you
no,
just
no,
write
no,
down?
I'm just making sure that we've got segments. That's all. Yeah, yeah,
He wrote down the segment.
yeah.
Humble and Fred beating up on me for not
No, no.
for not doing drugs.
I just wonder how I'm gonna write if I was on one of these and it's like, uh-oh.
When do I reveal to the Twitch audience the? I'm like a robo.
Show us your tits.
Well, it's down here.
That's what you're
we're doing
doing.
a radio show too here. We're doing
All
a
right.
show.
All
You're
right.
high as a monkey. I can see it. You are. You're high as a monkey right now. By the way, if you're just listening on real radio, that's our Fred and I have a relationship where I allow the fun discourse where he'll yell, "Show me your tits."
Well, that's what you're about to do.
Sure.
Well, that was about what you did. All right, here we go. If you're watching on Twitch, what do I have? It's called a Holter, Holter monitor. You can have them on for 24 or 48 hours. I have the 24-hour monitoring because I have something called PVCs, not the pipe, but a heart arrhythmia. Okay, you ready?
Da da da.
Here we go.
Da, da,
You can see this.
Look at that.
Pull it
Oh
up.
my
Ta-da.
goodness. Look at
See
Look
all
at
the,
that.
all the shaving that's been done. All the little hot spots.
and a tensor type thing is holding it in place.
Well, and this, yeah, right here.
Did you find this uncomfortable during the evening? During your sleeping hours?
No, not at all.
What if do you ever sleep on your stomach? Wasn't that
I didn't.
bothersome?
No.
Oh, okay.
I did hit golf balls with it on yesterday. Found it pleasant.
Look at those wires going to the top. Now, can you tune in the Humble and Fred podcast with that?
I tried. It's not available on Spotify. Why is it not available on Spotify?
What do you mean it's not available? The data's
Anyway,
there.
there you go.
Oy, oy.
It's
Anyway,
on.
that's,
It's on Spotify.
Is it? Are we on Spotify?
When did you try?
I don't know. I
No,
asked.
it's iHeart. We're still not.
Oh,
on.
we're not on iHeart. That's right.
Da-da-da.
I'll tell you what, though. We are.
That's because we work for a Bell station. Oh, wait a minute.
You know, I've often talked about, looking at where we rank on iTunes of the tens and thousands of podcasts. There's too many podcasts now, but Little Humbly and Fredly are in the top 200 again. We have been this week, but I'm very encouraged. I don't know what's going on. Thanks for downloading the show. And by the way, we don't ask you very much to, if maybe this fall you could share, our page with some people, or maybe tell some people about the podcast that might be interested in it, because right now we rank 161 on iTunes. Here's who we beat. We beat the Daily Derringer podcast, and he's famous. He's John Derringer, and he doesn't beat this silly little show where one of us just yelled, "Show me your titties."
No, and he gets to promote it on a giant Toronto station every day. Although, is it giant anymore?
Well,
But anyway.
he's a giant, so we beat that podcast. We're also ahead of some other pretty famous people. Amy Schumer is at 175.
Wow.
This is that from CBC Radio, a very fine show, also famous at 183. Again, I know this doesn't really matter, but it's certainly better to be inside the top 200 than not inside the top 200. Would you not agree?
Here, here.
Well, there are so many podcasts. That's like being in the top 10 of 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 10 of
TV shows
or
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just slice it and dice it.
box office
It's
movies.
impressive.
If there's 20,000 podcasts that list on iTunes Canada, and I'm sure it's at least that number, so 1% would be 200.
Yes.
So we're in the 1% of all the podcasts that are listed on iTunes, and I'm just going to say that, whether it's true or not.
Yeah, and thank you kindly for letting us jump 20-something places, right?
Yeah, we were, 180-something
180
yesterday?
something,
I know.
yeah.
There's a comedian I love named Joe Coy. He's a Filipino comic. Very funny. He's at 162. He's got his own Netflix special, more than one.
Mm-hmm.
He's super famous.
Wow.
Yeah. We're at 161 today, so just so you know, this is where it's happening.
Another observation, you mentioned the Derringer Show and like Q107, isn't it? Especially for men in our demographic, you used to hear that radio station on a lot, whether you're getting your car fixed or in a store or in the backyard next door. I haven't listened to that station, and I haven't heard it on anywhere in probably years now. It's just amazing how that's all sort of evaporated. People playing their own music.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
I took my car into G-Tech Auto over there in our old neighborhood on 30th on Friday, and it's funny you mentioned that because there was music playing, and I asked Gordy where it was, and he was just streaming his own music. People have just figured out that they can have their own radio stations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing.
And data, even like, we've got a pretty good plan, you and I, and we have 6 gig of data per month. And I've been doing that more in my car, streaming my own phone, because it doesn't take up much data to do it.
No, and you're in the position where you actually want to use. I'm paying for that data. I want to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think to your point about not hearing radio stations, whether it's Q or not, you'll hear Funny 820 because that's a Humble and Fred product. But you don't hear a lot of radio stations.
No, if I do hear radio, it's talk radio. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Because it's now.
Exclusive.
It's fresh. You can't. You know what I mean? It's current.
Sean has spent most of the morning arguing with right-wing guys
Still
about
having fun.
climate change.
Still having fun right here.
And he got on a thread about this young Swedish phenom, Gretchen. What's her name?
Greta.
Greta.
Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg. Thunberg.
However you say it.
Anyway, we're going to
She
get
says
to
it
that
different.
story in a second. But what's the matter?
Oh, no.
Are you getting a contact high, Phil?
Oh, no. Just saying hi.
But first, let's talk about our friends at the Chamber Plan. That was yesterday's. Some pretty interesting conversations about some new innovations at the Chamber Plan.
Yeah, their teledoc feature now, which is fantastic. No matter where you are on this planet, if you're a Chamber Plan member, you can have access to a doctor within an hour, which is just amazing. Just think about that. There's something bothering you. You're thinking of going maybe to an emergency room where you would spend hours or having to book an appointment with your doctor. On your computer, on your phone, you can be hooked up with a doctor almost instantly, to get the lowdown of where you stand. Should you go a step further, or will everything be okay? They can even do prescriptions for you. It's fantastic. Part of the Chamber Plan, Canada's #1 plan for employee benefits for small businesses. They've been around for 30 years, around for 40 years, 30,000 businesses now part of it. The Chamber Plan, go to chamberplan.ca for a free quote. See how this can work for your small business.
Phil, tomorrow we're going to have a kind of a cool conversation with our friends from Strain Print. But why don't you describe, describe if you can,
Absolutely.
what's happening with the Strain Print app.
And of course, cannabis is not about getting high anymore. There's more therapeutic uses when it comes to strains of marijuana. And Strain Print is here to offer you a way to journal and keep track of your journey throughout the cannabis world. And it's a companion app that will help you learn how much more rewarding and beneficial your experience can be. Since different people process cannabis differently, you'll get to hear more about how other people treat cannabis and how they react to certain strains, and you can also learn from that experience. You can also collect strain points as well, loyalty points on the Strain Print app. Check it out free on the Apple or Google Play Store or strainprint.ca.
I want to thank Olga Marquez da Costa. I don't know if we've ever mentioned how faithful she is to us. She's one of those people you see on our Facebook Messenger sometimes.
Right.
She's talking about. She sent me a nice note telling me to stay strong. I think. She says I listen to your podcast almost all the time, but when there is a repeat, I go to CBC. She likes that. She says many great interviews with great writers. Howard would love this since when he is not golfing, I'm sure he likes to read. So glad you were back. Here's Sarah who says, I'm listening. How come your yesterday's show is only 20 minutes on Spotify? iHeartRadio won't let me listen to it either. Are we on iHeartRadio? Wait a second. She's saying I'm listening to you guys right now on iHeartRadio. Meow.
No, she's listening to the live stream.
Oh.
iHeart, Funny 820 through, but the podcast, the recorded podcast.
Oh, I see. So we stream live on iHeart.
Yes, through Funny 820.
Oh, I get it.
You go to the Funny 820 thing.
Sarah Samus, thank you for checking in and confirming what we knew.
Yesterday, too, I'll mention that I spoke with the great Bob McCown yesterday for about 20 minutes, and he promises in the next few weeks he will be a guest on the show to talk about his broadcasting career and a couple of business ventures he's now involved in that are pretty interesting. So touch base with Bob because we've been trying to get him on the show, and he assures me he will.
Another guest coming up on Monday.
Oh, yes, John Shannon, who used to be on Sports Talk Radio, but his claim to fame is a big-time sports producer. Most notably Hockey Night Canada. He's done a few Olympic Games, and John later, again, became a sports talk show host on the Fan 590. Let go recently, but he's in on Monday to talk about all things sports and broadcasting.
On the podcast extra today, Sean Clement. No, what's your name? Sergeant.
Yes, that's my name.
I know a guy named Sean Clement. Isn't that weird? I just thought that was your name, too.
Close enough.
Sean is going to talk about a lost continent that's been found under Europe, apparently.
Yes.
And maybe we'll get into why all the right-wing guys on Loose Skis' Facebook page want to take you and beat you.
Yeah, they want to take me out back and, hit me with the ugly stick. But
run you out on a rail.
We'll see. I'm defending myself.
And maybe I'll save this for tomorrow. I think it's time we revamped. It's time to grow up and revamp the system of bike signaling. It's just stupid. Like, I don't know.
What do you mean, bicycle?
Yeah, when you're on a bike, because I'm in the city all the time. I'm driving around and I notice because we'll talk about this tomorrow. But we got to find a new system because the one we have is dumb. Stupid bike people with their hand signals that nobody knows. Tell you what, you're turning right, point there. How about that? You're stopping, put up your hand. You're going left, use your left arm.
I was gonna bring this up.
Well, you're gonna have to wait. Can you bring it up?
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna bring up bikes?
No, just walking in the streets of the UK with cars on the opposite side of the road and how easily you could die.
Oh yeah, all the time.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
A couple of times I had to watch myself stepping out in the street looking for a car coming when it was behind me.
I totally
I
know
scary.
it. Scary.
Yeah.
Phil, do your thing.
This episode of Humble and Fred Radio is brought to you by FYI Music News, The Retirement Sherpa, Gig Sky, The Chambers Plan, Straight Print, Freedom Construction, Ringside MD, Clear Air Solutions, and our newest sponsor, CDN Technologies. We broadcast to the world from the Humble and Fred Queensway National Broadcast Center. Look right, and more Humble and Fred tomorrow and online at humbleandfredradio.com.
Most of all, someone said true love was dead, and I'm bound to fall for you.
Well, what do you want them to do then?
I want them. That's my solution.
What?
If you're turning right, point with your right hand. If you're turning left, point with your left hand. If you're going to stop, just put up the hand in that 90-degree thing that apparently also means right.
Yes.
That's stupid.
And if there's no bike lane, line up behind cars like a car. If you want to be treated like a vehicle, act like a vehicle.
I'll tell you what's dangerous in the city, where there are bike lanes. And I talk about, like, what they did on Bathurst, around Bathurst and Bloor for about, 4 or 5 blocks just west of that intersection. What they did is they took the parking They took it away from the bike lane. So imagine the bike lanes are on the outside of both lanes, and instead of being able to park there, you park sort of almost like if there was a second lane there. I can't describe it. So imagine there's a parking lane that's not the curb. It's just out. It's
Right.
away from the curb. It's a little bit weird. The point is, if you're a passenger getting out of your car, you're right adjacent to that lane. You got to really watch.
Right.
Because those bikes are coming, and and that's their lane they're supposed to be in.
Right.
But it's an added bit of you need to pay attention because you're opening your door in a live lane now. It's a small bike lane, but I've had that happen a couple times where you go to get in or get out of the car, and they just go whizzing by you.
Yeah.
Because they're not expecting. It's not their fault either. They don't know that you're about to get out of your car, but it is a unique situation.
But it is something as a cyclist that's got to be in your head that could happen.
Oh yeah.
If you know what I'm saying? No bike lane. So what often bothers me is, so there's no bike lane, and say I'm turning right, a bike will come up on the right between the curb and your car. Well,
That's dangerous.
you come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there's no bike lane, line up behind the last car and wait your turn.
And motorcycles do that too.
Yeah.
Not all of the motorcycles
Yeah.
more often will line up like a car, but because they have the ability to go in and out of the cars in the lane, again, that's dangerous as well. I think bicyclists or cyclists are less likely to want to do that just because they don't want to get squeezed in between two cars. Anyway, this means left. That's your right.
None of this stuff.
I guess, mine was yesterday, the day before someone did. I said to Rachel, what does that mean? Hands up. I don't know what you're doing.
Zig Heil?
Yeah, thank you, Phil.
Was is this me?
I like what they did for motorcycles drivers in the States. They've made these jackets and helmets now that are just all light focused, and it's all based on their hands. However, they're gripping or holding the bike handle, well, that means they're turning left, and there's a signal on their back that says I'm turning left. So
yesterday morning, coming down the 410 at whatever time that is, just before 6 a.m., I'm doing about 120 as I do. This motorcycle went by me in the HOV lane, probably at 170K.
What?
In the HOV lane, which you might have known, and there was nobody on the back, so it wasn't
legal.
It was just, and I thought, where does this guy get his balls? One little rut in the road, one little swerve, one little
bump,
miscue by a car, and you're a dead man. Like, I just forget the fact that he was being an asshole. Where do you get that nerve to put your life on the line like that? And and there's never a cop then, is there?
No.
But I just thought, I'd love to see that guy nailed for that.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know where they get whatever it is that. Like, I've seen that too, even with cars. When I've been going 140 and been eclipsed.
Oh yeah,
on the QEW just by someone ripping by me, and you're like, dude, how fast do you need to go? How fast do you want to get to Hamilton? Like, seriously, slow down. It'll still be there. And I'm one to talk, but I never did that. When I was a road rage guy, I never drove in and out of traffic at 170. I mean, I had my own.
And the weavers, like especially on the 410.
Oh, they're terrible.
They're just so. And Howard, I think the same thing. Like, what's your hurry? Like, how much quicker are you going to get where you're going? But in the meantime, you're putting everybody else at risk.
Yes.
You're flirting with higher insurance rates yourself. And it's like, holy cow, man.
For 17 seconds. That's the game.
What's going on in their heads?
Yeah, and it's funny having a GPS on all the time, which I like to do just for I just love watching, the road go by. But I also like to know how many minutes it's going to take me. Speeding up another 10 or 15K doesn't save you more than a few seconds.
Nope.
In the end, it doesn't. But there's just the impatience. And sometimes, it happened yesterday. I was coming back from, where was I? I was at the dentist in Oakville yesterday. And, again, somebody ripping by me, and I'm doing 130. And how much faster can you get into the city? You're not going in it. And then what I love is, too, when you see someone going way past and they go out to the right lane and they come back to the left lane, and all they've done is gotten one or two cars ahead of where they were.
Yeah.
I love that when they get blocked, too, and then you're ahead of them.
That.
You're in my
stop and I go, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Fucker.
How's the slow lane over there?
Slow and steady.
So do you want to talk about the lost continent found under Europe?
Lost continent. Yes, they'd found it's a lost continent, literally.
Found under Europe, according to this
because they didn't realize the European continent, right where that meets other plates, like Africa and Europe meet.
Sure.
That's a whole area right there where there's a bunch of different plates folding underneath each other and folding above each other. And so Europe actually that plate ate a whole continent that was once there. Because the continent went right underneath it. And we only have evidence of this. It shows in the boot of Italy. That's
Bootland.
Yeah,
Sicily
that whole
or
Mediterranean area is all completely different geography and landscapes than it is in the rest of the rockier, more mountain areas of Italy. So it's right more underneath the ocean. It's more or underneath the sea, and the beaches of Italy that are this lost continent they didn't realize was actually a plate that's folding underneath
squeezed
Europe.
down.
Isn't that interesting? You know, I've made that point. If people haven't been to Europe, I highly recommend Italy be the first place you go. Because you can rent a car in Italy, and virtually every 2 hours it's like you're in a different country. The landscape, it's like, from the mountainous regions of the Amalfi to Tuscany to the cliffs of Cinque Terre, and then Lake Como's like Ontario, and then Venice. It's really is an amazing country for getting a taste of what Europe has to offer.
And so now we know there's a whole continent underneath it.
It makes sense that those beaches are much different.
So in case you don't know, one of the stories that everyone's talking about is Greta Thunberg, who is a young child who also has Asperger's. She's on the spectrum somewhere.
Yep.
Here's a little audio of Greta, and then here's an adjunct to this story that I'm not sure if you've even seen.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
So she delivers that speech, and whether you agree with her or not, it's pretty powerful stuff for a young kid. What is she, 12?
16. She's 16 years old.
Okay. Still pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And again, you can... whatever your opinion is fine. But
it sounded overly dramatic, but she's a 16-year-old kid who's being passionate. How does that hurt anyone?
Right. How does and she's standing up in front of the United Nations, and it's pretty heady stuff.
Yeah, it's the introduction speech to a youth summit, UN summit.
Okay. So, whether you agree or disagree, if you're the president of the world, maybe you don't respond with, "She seems like a very happy young girl looking forward to a bright and wonderful future. So nice to see." You fucking idiot.
Well, that's just so condescending.
I know, and it's like, you're the president. Can't you just put aside the fact that you're a dick and go, "Hey, maybe I don't agree with everything she said, but you know what? I love her spirit. I love her courage, and I encourage all young people to get involved." Great.
Sure.
Just that. Just be the president for a second. You twit? What?
Just listening to her message, it's so different than even the American perspective, and that's where she spoke with Trevor Noah last week, or right when she got here. She spoke with Trevor Noah on the Late Night Show, and she was saying like as simple as, "I was in a boat. I coming here in basically nothing. I'm in the middle of the ocean, and it's just." I get here and I'm in New York where it's automatically there's a smell. Like there's just a smell of pollution in the water. There's like just a constant sound. There's just everything going on in New York City, and she's here to talk about exactly like that, climate change, how she came here and trying to have a small carbon footprint, and that just spread the knowledge.
Well, anyway.
Well, that's where we're at now. It doesn't matter what the issue is, who the person is. Everybody takes their side now.
Well,
and
that's
now the thing is, and the kid showed up wearing an Antifa T-shirt or something, and then they show her parents wearing Antifa T-shirts, and then the right-wing people jump all over that. But then immediately what comes to my mind, on a Photoshop, you know how quickly you can put those T-shirts on people in a picture? You know what I mean? Like, what can you believe anymore? Like, are those pictures authentic? Who knows?
This is a kid born in 2003. She is actually going to have to live with the consequences of our potential pollution or climate change. Obviously, she has to be passionate about this because she'll have to live this.
Just quickly change the subject. I'm watching the Twitch feed. Two things. Where's all the chatting gone?
Oh, I don't know.
It's gone.
It just slowed down today.
No, and then you've misspelled Canada.
I didn't misspell Canada.
It says Wednesday, September 25th, live, Humble and Fred Radio, CNADAS. Where's the A in Canada? It's Cnada's. Did you write that? Who put that there?
That was probably me.
You've left out an important
important part of our nation.
Yeah,
Apologies.
the A.
Oh, Cnada.
Oh,
Cnada.
Cnada.
I didn't see that. Didn't even, thanks for catching me. I can fix that.
Well, it's been there all morning.
Oh, C word nada.
Cnada. That's where we live. You seen this?
No.
There was a famous spelling error earlier this year where they were painting an airliner in China for Cathay Pacific in Hong Kong. They forgot an F, so it became Cathay Pacific. Paciic. No F.
Do we have a new coffee machine yet?
I just see this thing today, peterboroughtoday.ca. Justin Trudeau to visit Peterborough for rally on Thursday. He better watch it. They're still pretty intolerant in Peterborough. You know what I mean? They're not used to non-white people in Peterborough.
Big PPC following there.
They're
Well, they don't like
still bigoted.
That's right. He may not
in Peterborough.
He won't be able to eat at the same restaurants.
No, he won't be able to go in there to the dog whistle there and have poutine. No.
Yeah, he'll have to go through a different entrance.
Yeah,
and of course, there's that blackface washroom.
No $5 taxi driver.
People in blackface.
Yeah, and forget about the water fountains, Justin. Don't go near one.
Our prime minister was wearing blackface. Has anyone forgotten that? God damn it! Okay, I gotta get this monitor off.
Yep.
I'll take it off.
Not till I have to wait till 10. Don't wait till fucking 10.
Oh, did I tell you, Howard? Because I told Fred and
Let me guess,
Sean.
you're going to Cambodia.
No, yesterday I saw Michelle Obama speak. That's why
Where?
I'm so tired
Oh,
this
right.
morning.
What?
So she was
Wait,
speaking.
what?
Yes. So there was a tech summit in Canada, and she was invited to speak at the Meridian Hall, which is the old Sony Center, Hummingbird Center, O'Keefe, whatever it's called.
She's in concert?
Yeah, she was. So she was
Nice.
speaking to someone, and I got to hear about a level-headed politician who should have been president or anything.
Who, Michelle?
Yeah, because she's just. Even people giving her death threats, she talks about how she empathizes their own cause.
Now,
in
does
mind.
she have an opener? Did she have an opener?
She had there was a video that played beforehand. Apparently,
How long did she speak?
About an hour.
How did you get to go to this?
Oh, because one of my clients, the corporate client we were talking about months ago, gave me free tickets, and so I took a
Corporate client. Which corporate client?
You remember the podcasting about female tech leadership? So they're going to post that next week.
Is that somebody we booked?
Yeah, no, not here, but like my editing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's fun.
I see at the grocery store, the tabloids, they're all predicting or they're claiming that the Obama marriage is coming to an end.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And they're fighting over $150 million.
Well, it doesn't sound like it yesterday night.
Well,
she's
well,
like,
it's the tabloids.
Barack's my man, she said.
Getting back to Mr. Obama, can you imagine him ever tweeting? Again, why doesn't Trump ever read the room? She's a 16-year-old kid. Can you imagine President Obama, Barack Obama, ever getting into even a sarcastic pissing match when a 16-year-old child is speaking? I mean, I was so impressed just by the poise it takes to. I know she seemed angry. She's also she's on the spectrum somewhere, so there's some of that, and she speaks openly about that.
And then yesterday, remember after one of the mass shootings, he actually allowed a bit of space saying, maybe we will look at some of the gun laws. Remember that? Maybe we will take a closer look at what we're doing here. And then the NRA had a reaction yesterday during his speech at the UN just all over the Second Amendment. We will not move on the Second Amendment. It's Americans' rights to bear arms and protect ourselves. Like, just staunch. Where's the reaction to that?
No, I know. All right, well, there you go, kids. I guess that's enough show for one day. And if anyone else has anything to add.
And breathe.
All right.
No.
Did you change Canada's national morning show again?
That's coming. I'm still in a battle right now. I gotta.
Yeah, but maybe your battle has distracted you from spelling the name of our country right
Cnada.
on the Twitch feed.
I was sitting here trying to think of coming up. You know, Michelle Obama and Barack, they get a divorce, but she won't go out with Justin Trudeau because she's. Yeah, so, or, you know, she's interested in Justin because, you know, she's not into interracial, or something like that, you know. She would go out with Justin Trudeau because she's not into interracial.
Right, she wants somebody of her own race.
Yeah, of her race, something like that.
Where I thought you were heading.
Couldn't formulate it.
That's fine, because you're high now. Where I thought you were going is, you know, Barack and they split up, and somehow she's in town next time, and she spots you in the audience, and she's like, you know what I really need? I need that. I need me some old white grandpa.
Yes, she could.
OWG.
Is she a big woman?
No, not at all. She came in
I
with
mean
like an
in
Oprah
stature.
haircut. Not at all. No.
Oh.
She's still quite smashingly similar to when she was.
Did you get any
in the White
wood?
House.
Did you pull wood? Did you rub yourself in your pants?
She's in her 40s with grown-up kids.
So?
She's 50s now, wouldn't she be?
Oh, no, she'd probably be early.
Yeah,
50s,
but why
yes,
can't
yes,
they give you wood?
You
You don't get wood over women in their 50s?
Maybe I'm just more asexual than I thought. Maybe that's why. Maybe
Did you rub yourself through your kimono or whatever you wear to formal?
Right beside all the tech executives from Google Canada and Microsoft Canada, sure.
I don't know what you're up to on your off hours.
So, plug and play, USB.
He's something, isn't he?
Oh, my gosh.
It's all right to say you get an erection over another woman.
Oh, but I was inspired. Yes.
Oh,
Her
okay.
words gave me the erection.
Yeah, did they?
Yes.
And you went? Did you rub one?
words.
Oh,
Did you
yes,
go home
I
and
could.
rub one out to a picture
Intellectual
of her?
boner.
Yeah, sure you did.
Oval Office.
All right.
Oh, Phil's cock.
Phil's cock is how we're going to end today's show.
How Cnada. Talking shit.
Really, why would we ever stop doing this? Like, how much, really, what have we got the rest of the day? We could just get some sponsors. I'd never stop doing this. All right, see you later.